Like, I feel like he should be more cultured than he is. Honestly, he shouldn't have an excuse. I think he's the producer for our game. Shout out at Day Show.
You think he is? You're not sure on that?
Send some like death threats his way or something.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
Round 1!
I mean threats, not actual.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's still less than ideal.
I do it. I do it today.
Well, yeah.
I do it on multiple burners.
I just do it on main. Why are you making a burner account if you're gonna own up to it on live on a podcast? Anyways, we go reading room. We go reading room for round number 1 with the reading dining defense. They elect to hop to that second floor site first. Not feeling so confident in the third floor, especially with the Azami Valk ban. Makes sense. The castle still being brought, in spite of not using it towards, cigar shop piano holds like it often is used on cafe. Instead, they're going to use it to kind of section off their hold, but it does kind of let Strike X know that most of this cigar piano side is going to be pretty much free for the taking. So they do take a Fenrir mine out, and they end up getting control over cigar shop. At the very least, the piano not quite going to be free as Shrimp is looking for a little bit of a cheeky first pick.
Just waiting for the potential fall off as well. Maybe that pick and go, or maybe just, gentle time waster. Is that Bloppy? Is that how you say it? Lippy?
Yeah, Bloppy.
Well, she's going to get blapped down. There goes Shrimp. Off the swing inside of piano. Well read. No one really there for that trade. That's kind of your call now to make a fallback. But that is a great start for Arrival 7, who've now basically kind of forced Strike X to choke their way in with these flashbangs, trying to clear out this cocktail position. Alios holding very firm. Most of the util here for Strike X just trying to be used to clear, but still here.
Yeah, Ali in a really rough spot too, because she can't really fall back, and so Shrimp is going to be here to try and help out. Deal with maybe a walk up from the bar freezer side, just because she doesn't want Ali to die and completely forfeit that man advantage, but Ali will die anyways, and so it might just be better for Shrimp to fall off. That's exactly what she's going to do. Very fortunate nobody watching that white stairs window, but for now, good on Strike X to at least find that man advantage back, but look at the time. 45 seconds left. Good on Ali to waste so much time upstairs and leave the attack without much time to really work the vert with the ram. Those boogie drones might not even get thrown down. And even if they are, you might not even get to look through the holes before you need to get the execute going.
Bagel has a shotgun too. She might be able to spit all over them, but doesn't do that just yet. Spleech was talking her up pretty well, but he's dead. Get Morgan though going down next. There's Bagel. Spitting fire and flames. It's a 3 versus 2. Suddenly Strike X have been left starving upstairs. No control of the first floor. Shifting and Fug gonna have to move their way down. There's no time. They're begging for picks at this point, but none of it's going to come their way. Shrimp with a third on the round, just putting an exclamation point on top of it. Shift has nothing to do. Strike X will fortunately drown outside of the bomb site. Wall of fire. Rival 7. I mean, that's a pretty impressive start, playing that really patiently upstairs. Bagel just kind of spit on them. So did Shrimp. Really good round out of them.
We heard you the first time you tried to make the Hawk to a joke.
It's gonna happen. I mean, what do you think I'm gonna do? Like, dude, I see the joke and it's if it's obvious, I'm taking it. Like, are you gonna blame me for it?
That's floor loot. That's what we call that.
Dude, it is. It's literally floor loot, man.
That's floor loot. It's right there, right off the drop. You see it, and you gotta pick it up immediately.
Yeah,
but no, Arrival,
it's a Peacekeeper, and sometimes it's a Ultra, Ult Excel, and you're just like, well, I don't really need this.
What are you gonna do about that? Apex reference, and it wasn't me.
You said floor loot, isn't it? I thought that's kind of weird.
Apex,
I mean, I don't know.
Fortnite, NEBR, really.
Yeah. I just assumed Apex.
My buddy started saying floor loot, and I just decided I was gonna say it too, and I think he meant like Fortnite term, but either way.
You steal jokes off other people and make fun of me whenever I make my Hawk Tua jokes. Okay, I see you.
Okay, well, I'd rather say a funny stolen joke than say say spit on that thing when Hawk Tua is mentioned. And
well, you should mention that to Bagel. You should take that up with her. I'm not the one with the name. Like
You're the one who's okay. Whatever. Anyways, I was gonna say that Arrival 7 did a good job, like kind of just wasting so much time up on that third floor. Want to see more fast progress out of Strike X as well. Felt like they were a little hesitant to take some of that space, take some of those early gunfights. gotta have a little more confidence in yourselves. Otherwise, you're gonna spend like pretty much 2 minutes trying to clear that second floor or third floor like you did last time. So a little bit more confidence, especially with a comp like this. I mean, we barely have any hard breaching other than the few can openers in the back. Like this is a comp of 5 characters you run if you want to play a very comfortable gun for the most part. So you got to be a little more confident taking some of those early engagements. Drones in for your teammates, though 4 of them are already gone. So rough start for the info for Arrival or for Strike X.
Mira. Saw Strike X tried to go cocktail last time. Got Twitch to deal with the Miras. Oh, shrimp. Well, she had quite a pretty good first round, but unfortunately not this round. She will not be very productive unless she's on cams. Trying to look for the trade here is Rival 7 fighting Rivet outside of mining. So far, this has just been pretty clinical. Still, though, Strike X getting inside, but Spleech. Blippy and a Blippy or Bloppy or Bloopity Blop.
Bloppy.
Yeah, Bloppy. We'll do Bloppy. Innocent attempt at info, but loses her life. Now we're even.
Yeah, half the round left to go as well. Arrival 7 still holding on to pretty much most of the map control they would have wanted to. Odd amount of fighting down towards that first floor, given that it is that third floor bomb site. They still think someone is downstairs as well. Uber Alf Spleech will use the Zodos to counter the Deimos tracker. Unique use of them, probably being brought to enable the Kaid being used more effectively, but still well used, because now with a minute to go, Strike X were trying to fish for a kill, but instead can't really find it. Break open the floor, not quite below the mirror window, so Rivet are going to have to spend some extra time, but it's already open as well. Alley is way further back in a much more normal spot towards C1. With 45 seconds left, I just quite don't know where the push is going to come through for Strike X, as they're just kind of fishing for picks downstairs. The Zodo canisters are really getting in the way, and Alios doing a great job navigating around these shots.
Yeah, this is the same problem they had last time around. Strike X are just going to decide to run on in, and Fuzz getting the plant down, but nobody's really covering. I think they're just trying to make a play. Literally, she's just, like, trying to plant, and she just gets it off. He gets traded out, and, I mean, I don't think Arrival 7 know this, but they could technically just stick. You have Shift A playing down below to make sure that isn't possible. Morgan will rotate up to Freezer, but what a shot from Thrill. Is going to make this so much harder. Fenrir trying to get on the defuse. Now just trying to fight the Deimos down below, and this is the right move to make. It's a 1-on-4. Shift A has no HP left. It's an easy win for Arrival 7. They make it look so simple, and Strike X, that is an unfortunate second time where they are, like we said, just kind of locked outside the bomb site.
Yeah, I mean, they were given a decent amount of control. They took it eventually with the solo plant towards default. But, I mean, they were still just kind of like a little... It felt like all over the place. When I was talking about their comp kind of being for taking fights, I didn't mean, like, literally you should all just try and take a bunch of fights. Like,
yeah.
It's like, it didn't feel like they had the general idea of what they wanted to do. They cleared that first floor, but then they tried to put pressure on the player's cocktail, but they didn't want to go for a cocktail execute. They wanted to try and plant towards bar. Maybe that was just a desperation play because they didn't think they had it. But if you're going for a cocktail play, you know, like Ying, Sens, or Aurora, maybe a shield to repel in, like the Blackbeard's really good, something like that would have been better, or just trying to take the cocktail control earlier. But either way, it just kind of felt like the best they had was, you know, split up and look for picks instead of really getting like a solid push going. It feels like they're a little directionless on some of these attacks. At the very least, just calling something first, because they've been doing a good job in some of these early gunfights. They're going 1-for-1. When Arrival 7 are trying to take the fight to them, Strike X are making them pay for it. But then Arrival 7 can just go back to the site, and then Strike X really can't do anything about it. Struggling to flush these players out of power positions big time.
2 rounds on Cafe defense now, and they're just kind of walking through this game pretty easily, but like you said, it's not really too much that needs to change. Just kind of directionless. Gotta find a way. Gotta find the right stream to take. I think for them, it's kind of a lot of separation. Like that's the main problem. Like everyone's just kind of isolated doing whatever. You know, it's like in their own little echo chamber. Need a coordinated push, even if it's a, you know, not a super effective one at the very least. Have them together.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Rivet's
She's.
just
I
in.
mean, this is what I get. This is kind of what I mean, but it's working. Rivet has sight. Fake is completely free, but Arrival 7 have 2 people on this retake.
Oh my gosh.
Surely we're not letting her get away with this. A double kill from Rivet. There's another player inside of sight. No one's helping this Fenrir. Rivet is just tearing this entire site apart. But then again, StrikeX haven't exactly gotten in for that plant just yet. Finally, Foe will make her way in, but Thrill hits the shot into the blitz. 3 versus 4. His retake might just be allowed as the Fenrir makes her way in. Thrill gets the trade. The plant will eventually go down. Bagel now left in a 1 versus 3. The round is over. StrikeX find a way in, and Arrival 7 unsuccessful on that retake.
I like the ability to trust the individuals. That still felt like a very individual-based round from StrikeX, where in the first couple rounds they were, individually fishing for kills. In this case, it's kind of Rivet individually spotting the gap into the site, but she trusts herself to hit the gap that she sees. She trusts herself to know that the gap she sees is not an illusion. She trusts that the gap that she has spotted is solid, and Blitz a great operator to do that, because even if you end up getting swung on by someone who you don't know is there, the shield can block your front side. And she ended up taking a lot of different engagements as well with people who were just trying to retake into that part of the site. Big to win 2 fights with the pistol. Not necessarily how you play Blitz in a textbook sense, trying to take fights at range, but she makes it work really well to get those 2 kills, open up that plant opportunity. Basically, winning that round on her own. It's a hero play from StrikeX that gets in their first round, which, given how we saw them play in the first couple rounds, I think makes sense, and it's going to be on Arrival 7 to really try and lock in on those holds themselves and not go too far away from the bounds of their extension. Like I was talking about going into last round, the problem that StrikeX have had is when Arrival 7 try and play behind their setup, play behind their util, it's really tough for A7 to be shut down in that. It's really tough for StrikeX to do anything about it. So I want to see Arrival 7 kind of play it closer to the chest and force StrikeX to clear out their util, clear them out of power positions, because that's where the first 2 rounds really went well for A7. And in that third round, StrikeX didn't have to clear a single power position, and that's when their individual skill was able to.
I also think gap spawning is going to be pretty important.
True.
As we saw that last round, that Blitz just kind of taking the gap there. Yeah, I think that's where Arrival 7 are going to get a lot of their momentum from, is like you said, just those power spots and kind of what happens inside. If StrikeX are able to clear it or not. This time around, it's kind of a similar situation. StrikeX will be attacking the middle floor. They'll be looking to clear from top down. Obviously, this is one of the primest examples that we can give of a power spot working well for Arrival 7 when Shrimp was able to play above. And Alios, actually. Just got to find a way around this. For StrikeX, gathering info. You got 4 nades. And you also have plenty of burns, so that could be one way around it, but they'll spot them on my desk. They'll know what they're up for. Or rather, they'll know what they're up against, as A7 are pretty much doing the same hold.
Same kind of thing. Same exact play from Shrimp in terms of looking for picks towards Piano, but yet to be given anything, as only a couple members of StrikeX really inside the building at the moment. They will be able to deal with the mirror window. The Ash breaching round will dispatch of that. Ali now going to be put on the back foot in this position once again. Thrill already abandoning, jumping ship down from pallets all the way down to the bottom of White Stairs. And it's only 1 player on this defensive side left up on the 3rd floor. Ali is all by herself. This is a very good opportunity to find a pick on a solo player, though I think Ali has crossed to the hatch. So well timed. As soon as the push comes up, Ali drops away. Shrimp even able to find 1, almost finds a second out of the new hatch drop. Doesn't lose her life, though. And that is the much more important part of that equation, as it maintains that man advantage for Arrival 7.
Well, woman advantage, actually. Let's be careful.
My
what
fault.
we're saying
Yeah,
here.
sorry.
He's new here, guys. Don't worry. I was really worried about Shrimp there. I think that this is just a perfect scenario for Arrival 7. They've wasted time and they get a pick. Like, this is it. Like, this is their round. I feel like if Shrimp were to die there, things might look a little bit more difficult, but they live for now. Thrill making her way up White Stairs as well. Everyone on A7 just playing this pretty patiently, not giving anything away, but info is there. Buffy's going to make her way down. That's a free pick. No one's playing the cross, but there's a trade at the very least. Bagel 2 on the board, but She'll go down too. So it's equal now for Strike X. Flip floppy. Oh my god, dude, that's so weird. 3 versus 3. Ali. Oh, maybe she just kept spraying there, but Spleech will get the cross. It's a double for Spleech. Both on 1 HP though in a 2 versus 1, and the site is taken by the final Strike X attacker, who now starts to get the plant down. Shrimp and Spleech, they're probably going to be very careful on this because obviously they're not on the highest of HP amounts. Floppy gets off and gets spotted. Now has to stick, and that is the round over. Almost had it, but Arrival 7 will lock it.
Yeah, I think, yet again, the theme is just it's taking a little too long for Strike X to do things. They lose a man advantage in the process as well, and like you said, it just felt like that was round done. In spite of, like we've talked about, consistently Strike X doing a really good job doing, like, in the individual gunfights, it's pretty clear that when Arrival 7, just get to sit behind their setup for so long and Strike X can't do anything about it, that Arrival 7 can just win by doing nothing. And again, like I was talking about, Strike X, when it comes to the late round situation, when they manage to just take some fights, it ended up looking pretty close, So it was, at one point it was a 3v2 favoring the attacking side. But the defense just had so much going their way in terms of the information they had gathered by that point in the round and the time that wasn't left for Strike X, that it wasn't going to happen for Strike X. It simply was not. And that issue, again, arises of Strike X maybe not being coordinated enough, maybe not bringing the right operator lineups. Whatever it is, there is a big problem every single time they run into the setups from Arrival 7 female, because it is consistently taking a little longer than it should to clear those util setups.
Yeah, it feels like the strat is almost like working way too well for the defense. Like, basically every single thing that you'd want out of that, like, upstairs attack for, I guess, Arrival 7's defense pretty much happened. Like, they wasted time, got a pick, fell down, forced everyone to basically just sprinkle on in through either white stairs or through some other angle. They get picked off. Even when Strike X takes site, they're so weak at that point. The retake's really easy. It's like picture perfect. It's almost like Strike X are playing way too much into Arrival 7's strat. I feel like you just gotta think outside the box at this point. Think of other ways to beat around it, because, like you said, there's just plenty of util that isn't really being, fought against. It's not like this lineup that I'm looking at is going to convince me that they can deal with all of the util that Arrival 7 are bringing, and I think that sometimes composition is pretty much the key. And I think for Strike X, just don't have a lot of destruction. You have 2 Ash charges for the Miras, then you have Goyos, you have Wamais, you have to get rid of the Cade. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to do that? I don't think you can.
It's going to be tough, and already a minute in, Strike X yet to make too much progress into the building. It's Shift A, the only one into the building now. Shift A on Thermite, which is, odd to see that's the one into the building first. Not the first one to take a fight, though. It's Rivid finding Thrill behind the mirror window in bathroom. A little bit of an overextension from Rivid, from Thrill, but really good job to Rivid to be able to find that pick. That is a missed opportunity, though, as Fudd didn't realize that Shrimp was right there, and Shrimp able to find the trade back. What could have been Strike X's best early round that we've seen so far, instead, just becomes an even man count without the most time in the world, though the Deimos track could maybe find a solo Wamai on the basement.
Be a good pick. Kind of get Strike X into this. There it is. Actually gets burned by the Goyo.
Wow.
I can't imagine how that might have happened, but Bleach at least gets the trade back. There's always something for Arrival 7, it feels like. Strike X just can't hold on to their advantage at all. Rather, Bleach Strike. Those kills alive right now. Also holding white. Arrival 7 aren't moving. Kind of just waiting for Strike X to make a move. So far, that move hasn't really been made. You can see the Grim getting her way over towards the rappel. What a sprinted from Rivid. Yeah, Bagel's just holding that. Shift A walks into trash. But is spotted. Trying to go for that plant. There's just no way around it. Gonna run into Spleech. That's a massive fight to win. Might also have a second lined up. And she does. Alios goes down. Bagel was stuck inside a freezer. But the pistol swing doesn't work out. It's all down to Bagel, stuck inside a deep. Can she hold on? No, she can't. The Grim with the swing and Strike X. They take another attack. 3-2. It's not all disaster.
And it feels like in the rounds like that kind of get a little more chaotic. They get a little crazier. It feels like that's favoring Strike X. I feel like we're seeing more potential to win gunfights out of that squad. And the earlier they get on the board, the more they force a Rival 7 to stray away from their setups, to stray away from the textbook, and that's where they want to be. So trying to enable those opening picks is going to be massive for Strike X, especially coming into this last attacking round. So you force those defenders to think, okay, man disadvantage, I got to try and make a play to see if we can get that back. Because though Arrival 7 were consistently making the plays, it was also kind of leaving them in positions where they could easily be capitalized on. Yes, Shrimp did get that trade back after the first kill, but it left her in a position where they knew how to deal with her, and then it was the Goyo charge, the Goyo being blown up by an attacker that actually ended up doing the trick. Yes, Spleech was able to find a trade back, but eventually she ends up dying for that as well. It's just situations like that where A7 are able to trade each other out, but Strike X know how to capitalize on those individuals. They know how to take advantage when you're giving them that information. It's all thanks to them winning that first fight, something that I don't believe they've been doing too often through the game so far, at least not with everyone that close together. So for Strike X, to me, it's like, let's start bringing like Ying, Blitz, Blackbeard, whatever's on the board. Blackbeard is still up. Like, whatever we can bring to try and make this a chaotic game and throw a Rival 7 off kilter just a little bit so they can't really rely on those strats. Because that last round felt more chaotic, and it was a lot better for Strike X.
Doki to potentially be a bit of a disruptor in this round. Kind of throw a Rival 7 off guard there. We're bringing pretty much the exact same setup. I wonder if they've actually... I think Spleech has swapped to Castle, but I don't know if they've made any other changes. Ooh, you can't do... What?!
She can't what? Never tell a woman what she can or cannot do, Jazzman.
Oh my god!
Shrimp, you can do whatever you want.
Go you, girl. Go you. Absolutely insane run out.
I don't believe it. And that's a man advantage. I mean, good job to Strike X now breaking a lot of util on the site, but that's still a man advantage locked in for a Rival 7. And now what can A7 do? Man advantage, not the most time off the clock, but still, you know, a solid amount already gone. But we don't have to do anything. Shrimp now known downstairs, at least probably known. She's just got to get back to site. You can't let this be a 4 versus 4 again and give up an opportunity at a kill. Instead, she will persist on that second floor, continuing to try to wreak havoc. And, I mean, she's 7-3 so far, so... unlike Jasmine, I will not be the man to tell a woman what she can or cannot do. Because even if she ends up having to fight a 1v3, I honestly feel like the odds are in her favor.
Kind of would be John Ubisoft, but it's 8 for Shrimp. I'm amazed. She's had herself around. Floppy's gone. Dokubi's gone. I think that was one call used. Still Strike X trying to get some space here. It's Ribbon to walk up white, but things aren't going well here. Strike X is... It's just one by one, falling like dominoes. Flawless indeed. Arrival 7. Make it happen. Bring back Cafe. Strike X, we're starting to get a little bit of momentum going there, but it is 4-2. Now A7 will have to deal with the offense. As we know, can be very difficult on Cafe. Strike X on the defense. Maybe with the playstyle that they've been kind of showing, that all or nothing, really aggressive, kind of just disrupt the flow of the game sort of playstyle, that might start to work out on defense for Strike X. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing the differences in setups that they have, because Strike X, obviously, I think based on what we saw in the attack, I feel like the strat book is less deep. They're the team here who isn't... I don't think Strike X is an organization. It might be. But A7 is, Wildcard Queens is, and then Kitten Queens, though they're not orged, have been together since the Blitz Queens event some months ago. So Strike X, I feel like the team that maybe doesn't it feels like have that deep of a strat book. And you see already the difference in the comps. They're running a Bandit Castle combination, but like Valkyrie, Legion, these are operators that will work in a lot of different comps. And the Castle can kind of, you know, just run the setup along with the mute. And it's a relatively well understood setup, though. Also on the first floor, kind of interested in seeing how that gets employed, because castle setups on the 3rd floor definitely pretty well understood, especially with that mute. But 1st floor, it still definitely gets played, but it's less. It speaks to maybe more some strategic depth that I didn't know that StrikeX had in them. So I'm excited to see maybe how they have this setup going, because it could turn into something very unique, and that's what they're going to need, because I feel like Arrival 7 are going to be able to eat up those default takes the same way they were eating up the default takes from the attacking side. I feel like they'll know exactly what to do if the defensive look from StrikeX is a little bit too similar to the defensive looks they see quite often.
I can't believe that you insulted the depth of complexity of StrikeX.
I just didn't think they'd been together that long.
That's a good point. I actually really don't know anything about
I mean, we
StrikeX
can't know. There hasn't been a women's event in a while, so we can't know if they've been scrimming for months or if they kind of just got together for this. And it kind of.
I know Arrival 7, I think, actually just made their roster a few days ago. So, or maybe they just
it's at least org. Yeah, it's at least a week or two old. 'Cause I knew Allie had mentioned to me that she was.
I don't know if they were like, yeah, I don't know if they were like a roster that got picked up by an org a week ago, or if they're literally just.
I think they got picked up a week
ago. Yeah, so it could be a roster that's been together for some time. Spleech might make some company with Bloppy, and yes, she will. 1 HP, unfortunately. That was a 3 armor. She'd be a dead woman, actually. But clinging on to life for now. Spleech has made a lot of space here, though. Surely they don't let her get away with this. Just chilling on red. Rivet swings out, confirms the existence of that Dokebi still. That's a lot of space to take. Now that Spleech is here, pretty much keeping StrikeX downstairs, the rest of Arrival 7 can pretty much just take this top floor without much worry.
Already half the round gone. It looks like Arrival 7 perhaps succumbing to the same fate of StrikeX in many of these positions. No, though not on this site, funnily enough, but maybe running out of time, though. Still making pretty solid time here as Allie starts to break open the roof above the objective. StrikeX very comfortable to just play within the boundaries of their extension. But the boundaries are slowly being closed in as the Kochek player forced out by her teammate coming back, but now Rivet takes up Kochek. Bloppy takes a fight on red stairs and wins it. 5v4 now. And if things were already looking rough for Arrival 7 because you just don't know if they're going to be given an opportunity, given an avenue to break into the site. Now with 45 seconds, they've got to find that avenue with a woman disadvantage.
Good save.
Yep, big save here.
Yeah, Bloppy getting her revenge early on now means that this is just going to be incredibly difficult for Arrival 7, who suddenly are being beaten by the clock, despite the fact that they had a good start. Wait. Something got shot off. I don't think they're able to hard breach anything. I don't know what happened to those Hibanas, but they get into freeze. Fuser is not in the hands of the Hib, though. Bagel sitting inside of default gets 2, trying to make space for herself here. Might have a third. She does!
Oh my
Suddenly,
gosh.
Arrival 7 are in this! I don't know how they managed to make it work, but they need to get the case on the floor, and they do. It's a 2 versus 1 for now. Rivet tries to go in. A 3K from Bagel, though, cements the round for A7, who are not in any way, shape, or form on track to win that round.
What'd you say about Bagel in the pre-show? What was it that you said?
Literally, I was gonna make fun of her for being bad. Yeah, that's what I said.
You weren't going. It's not. I was going to. You said
right.
She will be bad.
Yeah, you're right.
And
now
Bagel
I have to make fun of somebody else. Alia, stick to casting.
Tell you what. Bagel's not playing like she's bad. She's playing like a bad bitch out there. That's all I'm saying. Go off, Queen.
Woo!
She went crazy and just walked straight through. I was doubting whether or not Arrival 7 female could even break into the site in the first place, especially man disadvantage, and then Bagel just kind of gets the work done herself. And that's crazy because I was talking about StrikeX having that individual firepower, that pop-off potential. But between Shrimp on defense and Bagel in that past round, Thrill also having more kills than Bagel, who I'm even pointing out. 9 on Shrimp, 8 on Thrill, 7 on Hawk, 7 on Bagel. Whoops. Called her Hawk. Bleach positive. Ali's having a lot of fun, and Arrival 7 have been just looking like individually they can pop off at a level that Strike X also can. And with that added structure, I feel like they've also had. I feel like they're in a really solid position to close this out. I thought the advantage for Strike X would be that their individuals can win consistently in some crazier rounds, but it got kind of crazy there. But it was all Arrival 7.
I think the duo of Arrival 7 putting up double digits, both Shrimp and Alios for 10. Top floor take. Got the Ram. Of course, very potent. That top floor. Last time around it was... Oh, wait, there's a Cav here. And a Scopos, actually. I don't know where the Scopos is. Might still be chilling inside of sight. There's indeed a Cav. Has gone undroned. Floppy as well, sitting inside of Pixel. Could just be a distraction for the Cav. The dope call is made. Strike X might have to fall back here, and it seems like they will. But they're going to run right into the white cut. Are they stuck up here? I mean, they might be just a little bit. Had no idea. The Cav is off the board, so that's one roamer gone, and Bloppy's already in a world of trouble. Yeah, it might be time to swap shells and abandon this one completely. Get your HP back and start from fresh, because that's one kill for Strike X, and Arrival 7 are just already off to the races. Or rather, a kill for Arrival.
Yeah, Arrival 7 very thorough on the droning. They're not going to let that one sneak by. They've also still got 7 drones to work with as well. Shift trying to lean into this loose roam play into these individuals, like I was saying Strike X would want to do, when they do manage to get up this staircase and find Alios. Quick duck back down the red stairs as Shift very fortunate to be picking that one up, but not caught out by Spleech, who was already towards VIP, needed to find that kill. Instead leaves Shift on a fraction of HP, but HP still all the same for the mute. With a minute to go, Strike X have found their way back in a big way, and it's all thanks to Saint Shifte.
Drill goes down as well. Bloppy with
gosh.
2! Strike X! They don't say lightning strikes twice. Well, they do actually, but wait, they don't. They say lightning doesn't strike. But it does. Shift A and Bloppy striking X.
You brought it back. You brought it back.
had to make sure the
Gonna
reference
fire
clear.
writing gif. That's a gonna fire writing gif moment right there.
There's 20 seconds left. There's 3 smokes in pocket for Pho. I think Strike X might literally just be locked away. Shrimp is making the rotate. Yeah, you'll get there for sure. And the round's over.
I don't think she got there.
Jeez, it's just like 10 seconds left. I'm gonna hop out red window. Alright, nice try.
It was a solid try, and I mean, I'm really glad to see those signs of life out of Strike X, kind of playing into what I thought would be their advantage, just based off the first few rounds we saw and what we saw on the attacking side. And it seems to be their advantage, which is that they're willing to make some big plays, and they have individuals who can make that happen, catching Arrival 7 off a few different times. Bloppy with the wide swing double kill, catching off 2 players towards tables. Alios caught out by Shifte, walking up the red stairs in a 5-on-4 against a team who was running a Scopos Caveira composition. You've got to expect plays up on the flanks. You've got to be either watching flank drones for your teammates, or at the very least sticking together, especially as the Ram, because you can't guarantee that they're not going to retake something. And already you see Alios picking into that gridlock, not needing the vert anymore. Maybe this was the strat, or maybe she was told you can pick whatever you want, and she was so traumatized by the play last round from Shifte that she ends up picking into the gridlock. Either way, I love that pick to try and prevent the retaking of space from Strike X. That's going to be a big thing they're going to want to get done, is, you know, make some crazy plays to try and enable those individuals and catch Arrival 7 off guard. So you can already see Arrival 7 saying, you know what, we're still 2 rounds ahead, but let's try and adapt off of that last round that we just lost and see what we can fix going into round number 9. And the biggest thing to fix is limiting that solo play potential on the lurk and flank.
See that the composition of Strike X has changed a lot. Ooh, Spleech tagged up a little bit. Well, trying to get... That gun's hard. Totally get it. Fortunately, no head. Bleach will live for now. I do that all the time. That's not the first time I made that reference. Come on. No head is like a jazz classic. I love that video. Hilarious. But yeah, a major change up in operator lineups. Mainly the Maestro and the Izami. Seems like we might get some anchor stuff. You see the Jaeger actually. Jaeger's actually in a good spot. I think I hear most of the ADSs over towards Cocktail side, and this is a good read. You have Thrill on the Capitao, which now obviously gets blocked by ADSs, so that Cocktail side is going to be pretty difficult for Rival 7 to try and crack through. They might actually turn away from it, as you can see, 4 on the roof. They might actually switch this push.
And that's a really good pick to find. Dip Morgan cannot be getting caught out there. You said it. It didn't seem like Arrival 7 were super convinced in what their push was going to be. Maybe wanted to switch things up. This piano side take is going to be really hard with the Mute Jammers in CS and the Izami in piano. But the Mute giving herself up is a big mistake. Now that kind of leaves the Izami on an island. That's Shifte, who's made a couple of big plays already today. Made a big play last round. Perhaps going to start to come to life on this defensive side. Needs this first fight against Spleech to really get things to go their way. And what a shot for Shifta. Back into the 4 versus 4 like nothing ever happened to start with.
Wow. Yeah, the trades have been pretty good from both teams there. You can see already back on the board is Arrival 7, though. As Fug gets claimed inside a Cocktail. StrikeX needs to be careful not to give away too many picks. The ADS is going to save the life here of Rivid. 40 seconds left. Arrival 7 kind of left with the same problem that StrikeX had last time around. Very separated and trying to find a way in. But not having that option just yet. With Shifta still alive inside a piano. They get Bloppy down, though. Things are starting to fall apart here for StrikeX. Rivet and Shifta, they're just a hallway away. But, oh, big play! Gotta be careful there, though. You on ADS whenever you vault now. It's a 1 versus 3. Rip could do it. Maybe Rivet can't. Shifta now in a 1 versus 3. Hit a few nasty shots this round. Is that going to be close to enough? There's a down onto Shrimp. There's a player on Repel, but one's been spotted. Such good info. Shifta knows exactly what's going on. Player's blocked off from the window, but look at where Bagel is. Does she know? Now she does. Oh, no. Does she win it? This is unreal. God 6, though, pops. The Izami barrier needs to go for the shot. Shifta has the Deagle out. Not able to do it. Nice attempt, though. Very valiant effort. StrikeX just not able to hold on. Arrival 7 are making this one theirs. It's match point 6-3.
I mean, StrikeX were... I mean, they had Shifta looking great that round. But the rest of the team just kind of fell over. The hold on the site itself didn't quite hold to the same extent as the piano hold from Izami did. And when Izami is able to hold on to piano that well, that long, getting 2 kills there, and then 2 kills on a retake, it just doesn't feel like a round you should be losing. But the rest of the team just wasn't holding strong enough on the site, and that's what I think I was alluding to, where this team isn't really going to be, it doesn't feel like at least, StrikeX is going to be thriving in areas where they have to try and, you know, maybe play trades, play off of util, hold power positions other than shift in piano. At whatever power positions or trades they attempted didn't quite work because Arrival 7 were able to look and go, okay, we've seen this before. What can we do about this? And they knew how to go through the checklist. Whereas StrikeX, the individuals weren't really given a lot of space because you're all the way up on the 3rd floor. So I like to see them going down to the 2nd floor. Give those individuals a lot of space to like roam around and make individual plays, make some big influential plays, and really try and swing that round back into your favor, rather than going up to the 3rd floor where you've got to play it close together, and you've got to play off of each other with trades and info. They were giving up too many early picks and not really trading each other out through that round. So I don't really think the 3rd floor was the best play. I think these other sites, maybe even mining, if they end up winning this one and then winning the 1st floor site as well, maybe even mining over that 3rd floor site. I just don't know if I loved the tech that they were bringing out on third floor, and I don't think it really plays into their strengths, which is the individuals like Shifta and like Rivet and Bloppy going for big pop-off potential plays like we've seen them do already. There's only so much space to really make those plays on the third floor, and it felt like they were kind of crumbling under the pressure with so little space to really break out.
And it's like they gotta take that space together too. It feels like sometimes you're just all alone doing like all this work, getting your trades. Like even these high AD players, right? Like Shifta and Bloppy, like they have high kills, but they have a lot of deaths because they're constantly in 1v1s. And the moment that they get a pick, it's traded back in some way, or somebody else is traded. It's like there's just not a ton of unity right now out of StrikeX. It's something that we saw in their attacks as well. Even more so on defense, it feels like you had so many rounds where I mean, I think back immediately to that downstairs attack where Rival 7 just let Bagel get like 3, and it was like a 5 versus 4, and 4 people on StrikeX died. Like that's kind of what I mean. You kind of need to have that unity. You're gonna kind of play these upstairs strats, especially because Shift A is. I don't want to eat my words here. It looks like she's alone. Yeah, she's not. So she's got Rivet and Whitehall. Bloppy down below as well, potentially. Oh, she's crashed. But the trade is there.
Shifta, though. Yeah, it's there. And it's too late to rehost it, so we won't be able to stop the round now. Bloppy effectively going to leave her teammates in a 4v5, though, like you said, quickly traded out. It's a very good early kill, though Shifta will get found, and Bloppy still hasn't been found either, so it's effectively a 4 versus 3. You've got to try and make a play back. Though maybe a Rival 7, not quite knowing this, could have been used to your advantage until now. Now they do know, and now it's got to be Rivet making a play around the corner with the shotgun. They're a little bit too far for the M590 to really do its magic. It will still try. Shots around the corner. The Goyo fire popped, and now she's getting walked on from Bar, but she's safe from that too. And now Tokinated Pallets to see if she can hold off against the Horde.
Just get one, at the very least. You can go huge from this corner. Last smoke grenade used.
Perfect.
Man, just to try to cry. I don't know. I feel like I would just play my life there. I think you just got to go for something at that point. All good, though. 40 seconds. Not all good, actually. StrikeX are about a few seconds away from losing this. They can't crawl back a pick or two. Spun, Dip Morgan. 2 versus 4. The site is collapsing around them. Arrival 7, though, they're running out of time. Real nearly getting taken down, but she wins that one. 15 seconds left. Dip Morgan's going to have to hope for a miracle. Goes in for the swing. Oof. Nice shot on the shrimp. It's a 1 versus 3, and that plant's going to go down. Your one chance to win this round was to deny the plant, but now that goes completely sideways. Ball comes in. Don't call ends, though. Not the perfect intel, but as she shoots that drone, gives away her location. Hacked on cams. What can she do? 16 bullet Roni in her hands. Walks through the rotate, unaware of the Habana. Bagel gets away with the last kill of the game, and Arrival 7 will arrive on the scene. The victory against StrikeX. Bagel is back. We are all frightened. Congrats to Arrival 7, though.
Yeah, Arrival 7 in their debut as a full 5, looking outstanding under the new org. Really well played. Congratulations to them in their first game of the tournament, but there will still be more, and honestly, it feels like the 2 other teams of Wildcard Queens and Kitten Queens, the biggest threats to Arrival 7 coming into it, with StrikeX just through that game not quite looking to be up to par in terms of what Arrival 7 had to offer, maybe, some gaps in the setups that they were getting exploited on, and aside from a couple of really solid individual plays from those individual players, Arrival 7 felt like they had the system down, and they really knew what they wanted to do at any given point, with leadership, good idea what they wanted to do, all the way through every single round, and really happy to see them coming into this tournament with their first game under the org, looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, and sometimes it is just the difference of, we might have equal footing in terms of gunfire, but sometimes it's just the teamwork that drives you over the line, and that's why Siege is just such an important game for that. I just feel like that's something that StrikeX were struggling with just a little bit. Could be nerves, could be just a new environment. I mean, how long has it been since a play day for a women's league? It's been a very long time, right? So some of these teams are going to have to get back in the swing of things. Some of these teams are going to have to go back to this drawing board. They're going to have to start scrimming maybe. Hey, I mean, that's the way things go. But yeah, that is game one out of the way. Strike X, I think, still did show up, but a lot of fallacies on their end that hopefully we can correct. Hopefully we can see them continue to improve moving forward. But yeah, impressive showing from Arrival 7. Happy. It's been an honor, sir. Been a pleasure serving with you. I'll be back for game number 2. I will not. You will not. So think about him. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Looking at those players, they have not been gentle. I can say Secret, Scammy, Mine, Cassiopeia, I believe it's called, and Julie Pillow going straight into Clubhouse. Strikers on defense to start. I'm a wee bit worried about this. What do you know about these teams?
Honestly, I haven't really got a chance to cover the female teams too much. I know that I believe it's actually both Wildcard Queens and Strike X are both slotted as or projected to be the best in this league. So I really do think this is going to be one heck of a burner matchup. I can't really say who's going to have too much of an edge, but I do recall that I think it was Wildcard Queens who just played their matchup and won that one. So there might be a little bit more of a recency bias in that regard for what the outcomes will be. But other than that, I would say we're going to be in for a very close match. I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means.
I definitely think you're right about that. Something I'm worried about looking at this. We have some great plays. We get to see this new ban system be introduced. We get to see some people's mosses breaking, so a technical pause gets called in. But at least that gives me time to actually explore. What do you know about the ban system?
So I do know that, as you saw there, 2 initial sets of bans go out off the jump before the matchup even starts. But then it goes round by round. You're able to target each other's bans. And I really love this for your classic maps, especially because one of the things that I've complained about is how they can get really static at times, especially when you have maps with a lot of hard walls, and Clubhouse is not an exception to that. So if you can't really vary the sites all that much, what can you vary? It's the operators. So being able to target ban those more cushy ops, I think is going to provide a lot more variety, especially when teams start to get more comfortable to each other and say, okay, what do we want to get rid of? How do we want to hit them hard? Because if you can start tapping into defaults, that's where you have to start thinking about those backup strats, those tertiary strats that otherwise don't often get called upon. And that requires a lot more flexibility and adaptability from teams. So I really am looking forward to how that's going to play out for this match.
You're definitely right about that. And hopefully we'll be able to get back in this. It looks like they fixed it. So the ban system is very interesting how it's changed, because now it's no longer banning who you think will be useful throughout the round, but it's about banning who you think is going to be such a hassle to deal with, not only now, but in over time as well. But let's head straight into it. Going first into our site, gym bedroom. I've got to say, standard setup. We're going to bring the castle, we're going to barricade off, Bandit's going to try and trick the wall. And then, no, you've got the Jaegers that go spawn peeking with the beautiful, I gotta say, with the damage calculation changes that are done through limbs. He's so dangerous, especially with a new jammer coming out from foe. Can't drone. If nobody can get in, no drones can go through. So
the thing that kind of piques my curiosity when it comes to compositions, I wonder if Wildcard Queens is going to try to go for more of a direct take. We don't see too much intel coming in from them as far as operator selection goes. It's a very standard composition, with the only notable exception I would say probably coming from Scammy. But other than that, roam clearing is going to be a bit tricky, but it does look like Strike X, other than, of course, you've got West Stairs looking to try to go for a spawn peek. They're all pretty well centralized, and I think that this hit could play pretty well, especially if they're able to get an early clear onto cash.
Definitely with that. It might look like they're going to try and split up the push, but I think it's just centralized for droning at the moment, using that Maverick to hopefully push off the bandit, get the charge, be prepared for this fight. That wall will be open without any trouble, I'm sure now. But Rivid first taking the first damage while trying to get a nice pick on the Scam. He cannot on the top. Might breaches one wall, now goes to construction while the Ash swings in downstairs. Hopefully going to be able to get this Valkyrie. Yet downs her finish as well, that's confirmed. Putting it into a 4v5 early with only a minute going in the round.
Yeah, that's a pretty big loss. Nitro already off the board. Second one already being used off screen, so we only have one available when it comes to Strike X to try to repel these pushes. A little bit of an aggressive run out coming in from Rivet towards Cash, looking to try to catch somebody. Does manage to get away though, but again, what we're seeing is a lot of single fights coming out, not a lot of crossplay, and this is putting some dangerous territory. Overexposure, Ridgeman taking major damage onto Cash, still with a sliver of health. But with an open wall to the side, another pushing from CCTV. It's not looking good. The walking comes through. Can't connect the shots. Rivet staying alive. Takes a second as well. And that's going to be a major pushback, as Oryx will be the last alive after a disastrous push into Cash.
This Maverick being so dangerous, now put in a 3v1 position, having to luckily get a pick on the Jaeger to even it up, knowing where the players are, flashing that lovely CJX audio, helping hopefully drop to get this castle. He did see him, but he did not realize who he was looking at. There's Rivet finally going down, getting punished. A minute left on the board in a 2v1. Diffuser is in Cash. He's going to have to either rush it or take the time to drone.
Well, I mean, with 50 seconds on the clock, it's very much doable to recover here, especially taking out Rivet in that choke point of Cash. That was the big picture of what needed to be done. So getting that player out of the way means all the advance needed into construction with still a decent amount of time remaining, though it doesn't look like we're going to see much more droning than that. It's going to be raw gunfights after that, but just has to push through this choke point. That's going to be the biggest concern there. Does correctly call the bathroom, gets a bit of damage onto Shift A. Can't confirm the kill though, but there's still that wild card. Sweetfro does spot an outline, and now will push through, has the presence onto site. Now gonna have to try to go for a defuse, or at least take out one player with 10 seconds on the clock. Has to make this push. Spots one top main, the limbs, but can't connect. Shift A will be able to back off, finishing the job, securing the first round.
You've sadly not been able to play much of CZX yourself, so you do not know how oppressive that MP7 is, regardless of which operator has it. Bandit, Fenrir, or Zero, it's so punishing. But now we hopefully get to see a bit of a change up before we get to see the bans. Goyer being brought out as we go in Church Arsenal. Favorite on this map for me. And we get to see the Vigil. I'm hoping for a Boss G, but you never know with these guys. Sorry, in this case, these gals.
Yeah, I do wonder how they're going to change or try to change this up. I mean, second floor was secured quite convincingly, and I think that's going to result in a bit more of a defaultish play. I mean, we saw how Wildcard and Queen struggled significantly with taking Cash. By the books, they had a good pinch, but they just really couldn't seal the deal, especially with that pick on the rotate. That's one of those, ooh, shouldn't have happened moments. So I think now there's not going to be as much pressure to try to roam on a side of Strike X, especially because we saw Blitzby go down very early on. And I feel that if Wildcard and Queens had kind of consolidated themselves, played a little bit tighter, that could have been a struggle point. Because usually you want to try to hunt down that one opening. And to get it so early, should have by the books been a real big ire on Strike X's side, but it wasn't. So I'm expecting them to play this a bit more relaxed going into this. I don't think there's really a need to be too active if, you know, those standard pushes are going awry.
You're definitely right about this. Sadly, no Boss G on the Vigil, but we do get to see that weapon inspect coming out and those lovely esports skins coming out as well. But they're not being prepared for this. There's Valkyrie roaming, there's Vigil roaming, there's a lot to draw out and a lot to clear. They're being prepared to try and peek every entry point and choke point they can. Having Maverick try to open hatches into blue as well. Hopefully seeing how the new gas system works, it should be able to save a little bit more cannons. I've seen people try and test it. One's already rushed in the site. IQ's now inside, getting the first early pick, and Hibana's now going for the plant. Goyo luckily evening up to 4v4. Vigil's now having to try and run through blue, maybe getting a pick onto the person behind VAR. Yes, IQ goes down, also getting the Hibana by Sweetfro, being now into 4v2. Diffuser is down. They now know where the one person is. Dokebe gets pushed as well and swung and pushes it down. Maverick going down in the end. Diffuser is now rezzing a teammate luckily, but saving the round, clutching it out. I gotta ask you, what did you think of that? That was insane.
I mean, I like the push from Tunnel. It was certainly bold, but the composition that they had, it's not going to allow them to lock that down. No way on earth. You had too many roamers who could set up vertical, or they could run it back down. Like we saw there, roamers falling back, were able to clap down onto them. So, I mean, I like the initiative. It's certainly a good twist onto basement, and it was an opening, right? It wasn't really well covered, especially from what we saw from IQ running it down, able to take one immediately. But like I said, they didn't have a way to actually secure the post plant, and that's where things were kind of misread there. Though, I still don't know how I feel about Strike X roaming that much initially. I feel like with the right operators, Wildcard Queens really could have just absolutely stolen that round away from them. I would say that was a bit overextended, but otherwise, I mean, the fallback, the follow-up was well done from Strike X. To me, it suggests heavily that Strike X has strong tempo control, no matter which way they try to run it, and there's just not enough of a, I would say, proper counter coming in from Wildcard Queens.
You're definitely right about that, and that's where I'm going to have to say one lovely compliment to, I'm going to say Saint S Swift. Oh, sorry, Saint S Shift. They put the shift in, they put the work in, they came back to save their team, and they were able to punish and capitalize, saving everyone else the clutch. But now it's time to go get the most default attack site, but the one that's also the most difficult. They have the Maverick here, so they can open that wall, but there's nothing really to stop them. This Thermite's going to get that wall free of charge. They had to be playing this out directly. Wall gets opened. It's now time for either the Rafters player to get pushed out, or for them to go for an early pick. Well, my discs being saved in smart spots. Gotta love it.
Question, did the shields get changed or anything? Because I would definitely expect there to be a shield player on the side of Wildcard Queens to try to push this balcony, but we don't see anything there. Though there's also no Azami as well, which makes the whole garage balcony weirdly contestable, but also not really. You don't have that direct pressure. But then again, it doesn't look like they're going that way at all. It looks like they're going to be trying to establish bedroom, and they're going to run it down, already trying to take a defuse this early on. Sweetfo going out, there goes the plant denial. Nitro goes out, doesn't connect. But now it's going to be the post-plant situation as they're getting cut off from the balcony. It's going to be thanks to Cassiopeia, though Riven catches one from below. But this is still a force that by the book should not be happening. Big damage coming out. Dip Morgan taking Cassiopeia down. It's going to be now a 2v2, and with 25 seconds on the clock, this is still doable. But here's the problem. At least Secret has those fire bolts, and that can make it really hard for Riven to try to get this plant down, assuming he can get into sight in the first place.
Sadly, you called it out. Caster's Curse working its magic. Oryx getting taken out. It's a bit of a difficult thing because I'm always going to think of the operator Oryx when I see the name, but this time Fenrir could not make it into sight. Here we get to see the ban changes. Are we going to see Maverick being taken off the board, I'm assuming? And maybe what Defender will we see? Is, Maverick and Fenrir. Such a hassle of an operator to deal with, especially now. But I feel like that's a comfort pick, really going off the board of wild cards, especially for overtime.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think I can agree with the Fenrir. And here's why. If you look at how a lot of these rounds have played out up to this point, their biggest issue has been just, actually getting onto site and locking it down. I don't think Fenrir has had that much, his utilities had enough playtime to justify it. I haven't really seen it gone off. Don't get me wrong, he's absolutely a troublesome operator when placed correctly, but I haven't seen it enough for it to really be warranted. I don't think it had that big of an impact. Meanwhile, StrikeX absolutely correctly called the Maverick ban. They're going back into gym and bedroom. This gives them round security, and it allows Shift A to try to contest these walls with those bandit boxes. You couldn't really do that before when you had a Maverick to deal with. But again, that was a round that they won. I would be more concerned with how are they going to try to run it down the next time we go on, say, basement or the round that Wildcard Queens did win, which was CCTV.
You're definitely about that. This is what I wanted to mention, though. As you were saying last round about, holding rafters, couldn't do it with Asami. Asami was banned the round before. That's why she wasn't there. I was surprised that you were right about no dock or shields, but they didn't use the shield for that. They had the shield in Cash Door, and I assume that's going to be the case again. They're going to try and hold Cash aggressively with the Mute and the Bandit now. they're not planning on taking this slow. They're actually going to try and keep the thermite out. But the Kali, that's a big operator pick. So now Bandit's going to have to either try to trick this or cause a little bit of hassle and push a bit of a delay. But that's not going to be the case when you have both Hibana and Thermite. We're going to flash the Bandit and try to go for the wall. He's going to be prepared here to hopefully slow down as well.
Yeah, but Hibana's like one of the worst choices when it comes to trying to breach. I don't think this is going to work very well. Her charges are way too slow. Unless they bump the speed up dramatically, which I don't think they did. They still have that really long wind-up time. So you're not going to get that wall open so long as Bandit has at least one Bandit box available. But this line of sight is going to be massive. Catches up, almost takes Shift A, but can't connect the dots. But either way, you now have presence off the wall, allowing for it to be popped open with relative ease, no matter what operator you're taking. Bold swing from Riven and Shift A to take Scammy and Bully both out of the picture already. And that's going to be a pretty good blow to Wildcard Queens. Not on the utility side, though. You still have your bread makers when it comes to setting up site. You just lose your entries, that's all.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And Thermite still having a charge in his pocket, which can be used to cause enough havoc and trouble. They understand that this is the time to play. This castle is causing so much phantom pressure, where they know where he is as a general gist, but they cannot force him out. And this is where the problem's going to come out. He's going to try and drone through that mute jammer. Maybe he can, but it's going to get shot by the Jaeger on the staircase. I'm a wee bit worried. He's got a minute left.
Yeah, right now, we have some presence over in CCTV from Wildcard Queens, but it's a bit too backed up. StrikeX is a little bit centered, so they can pick one up. They can easily rack up another. It's really now a matter of finding that opening. And I think that's going to be tricky when you don't have cash or construction at the helm. They are trying to fix that Cassiopeia with getting that single wall open, so it does look like we might see a potential walk-in from there. But instead, it's going to be a Logi drop, and it looks like the swings are starting. Cassiopeia going down immediately, as well as Secret, as it'll be a flawless from StrikeX. They can't find their opening. The opportunity, it never came.
Definitely about that, the punishment. I gotta say, that's not what you wanted to see. StrikeX are now walking around to 3-1. Only 2 more rounds left for their defense. This is a great position for them to want to be in. Wildcards really need to try and up this to 3v3. But the rounds aren't in their favor at the moment. Striker not being brought out. Maybe it could be a sick pick, but I think that they're going to keep it. They're going to keep getting a bit more aggressive, showing them how they play. These queens just need to put the crown back on for 2 seconds. They just need to think it through. They know they're going to church, and everyone knows the Hosier song. I'm not going to make the joke. But it's time to take them to heaven and back.
Yeah, they got to drag them back down to earth, because I can tell from how StrikeX played, they're getting really confident and the swings that they're taking are getting a lot more dangerous. Their outside peaks, the overall aggression. It makes for a much tougher element to try to consolidate. I would have even called the timeout at this point. But, I mean, they do have that ability to break through. I mean, we saw them push through onto Tunnel, but again, I do think that Maverick ban had a lot to do with the trouble. They lost a substantial amount of time trying to get that Jacuzzi wall open, and they didn't really have a full opening to just run it down with the kind of veracity that you would want when it comes to taking gym or bedroom. But now going into this, another spawn peek. That's going to be from Blixky, looking to take one. Shots go out. Nothing connects, though. Getting a little too eager there. But in any case, it's still what I'm talking about there. It's just that additional confidence, knowing that you're not really having to watch your back. And I feel like Wildcard Queens, they're going to continue to struggle with that. They have to find some way to make that pressure more real and respectable. And StrikeX, they're not respecting anything.
Definitely right about that. And here's the thing. Siege is all about respect. And I don't think they're going to be prepared for this. This Grim is just walking through. Like, he doesn't even care that this is vigil rooming. He doesn't care where anybody is. They're just going to come here and open up as much side as they can. Habana's hopefully going to try and get this dirty angle. Scampy's already below. Walls are open. And there we go. Zophia's utility coming out clutch to try and open up first floor even more. This downstairs pressure. They don't know that one's here. He's going to go for the swing. Gets a pick on the Valkyrie. Oh, Val getting a beautiful pick onto Sophia. But now they know somebody is there. They have the cutoff line point. Yes, they gotta go for blue hatch, but Valkyrie's gonna be there, so he gets the swing, gets a 2k. Both of them going down. That's 3 off the board early because of this Valkyrie. But Rivet is now trying to put even more pressure, trying to go for the Grim. Could not get the wall bang onto the Hibana. Hibana finishes with Vigil coming down the stairs, putting it into 3v4. No flawless round now.
I mean, you don't need a flawless to win rounds. All you need is devastation like that. But yeah, I mean, like we were saying, they're just not getting punished for that. Yeah, Blixby obviously was going to take the hit there. You overstayed your welcome. You're past a minute and 30, and you're still going to try to take that fight? Bold. I like it, but it didn't work. And this is kind of where Wildcard Queens, they're kind of out of this. You got one player down, you still got someone above you, 55 seconds, you still have to make your way down to 2 anchors left. This is a really tough nut to crack, and here comes the drop. They try to get the revive, they do get it, but Shift A isn't having it. Shuts both of them down in bar, and they can't even make their way into basement. Again, you gotta have that pressure on these roamers, and it's not there.
I'm not even sure if you've seen that Valkyrie camera above that jukebox, just lighting up, flashing, pinging them constantly. They had constant intel, constant utility. Yes, IQ was on the board, but she was not able to use her gadget. She was too busy covering. But hopefully for this defense, Valkyrie, Bandit, Frost, Castle, and Smoke can clutch it out, making it a 5v1 for Strike. Or we're going to have to see Wildcard Queens take it and make it a 4v2. That's slightly better, especially for a defender side of map like Clubhouse. But Clubhouse is my organ now. It goes both ways.
Yeah, I love the way that Strike X is playing, though. I just wanted to bring that up. Because, I mean, if you have the open space to fight like that, absolutely take it. Like I said, I don't really know how I feel about the fact that Blixby dragged that on all the way to her death. But, I mean, either way, even when you die at that point, you've already done so much damage that your one death is not going to make that much of a big deal, especially when you have that power position still above. It really is a Strike X holds all the cards. They have all of the control that they can ever need because they cut through the noise, right? They're not afraid to take a fight because they know that at any given moment they have an out. They have a way to escape, and they, for the most part, unless they choose not to escape and bring it all the way to the bitter end, they do get away. I mean, there's not an oppressive force holding them back.
You're definitely not about that, and you want to talk about an oppressive force. I don't think this Hibana or this Capitao are going to let anything slide. This Bandit will not be able to trick if they can hopefully get a little bit more of the gadget out in utility. But Riven's there to hopefully cause a bit of havoc, and I doubt they've droned him. Sorry, I just wanted to say, no, I doubt they've droned her. Bandit's still trying to trick this wall, listening quietly. The Thermite going for the trick without any utility to help. Just replacing them for now, but hopefully going to keep that castle arcade to stay alive. But nope, here comes the flashes, here comes the stun, here comes everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah, and they do finally get that wall open with relatively no hassle, which is huge because you don't want to waste that much time on a CCTV wall. You've got a lot of lines of sight, ways to break it open, and they do successfully do that. But a bit of a pushback. Blixby gonna go for the run out, taking Scammy down. That's gonna be, unfortunately, your Nomad, which really hurts if you still have a warehouse balcony player, and that's gonna be Rivet taking another. That's Secret off the board from below. You do have that walk up in the construction. That is nice for establishing a pinch. But as far as just raw gunpowder, it's severely weakened, though Cassiope catching Sweetfo certainly sweetens the deal, But in any case, there's a lot of work to be done, and these pinches, they're still quite well reinforced. You still have that single wall that's going to be tucking Shift A close to chassis without much trouble, especially with the Nitro still in hand.
You're definitely right about that, but Pain coming out bit by bit here in a 4v3. It's going to go for the swing. Oryx gets one. Shifty's going to get Cassiopeia, putting them down. Hibana's now stuck outside the window. Striker's trying to go into the breach. Gets the jump in, but the Shift shuts him down early. Oryx being in, gets to the top of red stairs, now has to swing the person into cash. Does he know? Yes, he does. Gets the person standing on top. A is now clear. They can get the diffuser and hopefully go for the line of sight. They know one's in garage, does not know where the other one is. He's in first floor lounge. See, cameras are up, but does not matter. Rivet gets the ping and gets the shot. shutting them down early. That's the 5v1 you want. Oh, he ducked into the shot. That's painful.
Yeah, I saw that little pre-fire. Really unfortunate. I mean, good effort all around, but now looks like we're going to be running into the swap. We're going to be resetting the bans. But in either case, this is not the greatest situation you want to be on a map like Clubhouse. 4 rounds down. But either way, it really just comes down to who can hold someone out, right? StrikeX held their power positions with ease, and they were able to free flow it when it came to the roaming. But when it came to Wildcard Queens, they had a really bad time trying to, actually hold somebody down. I mean, they tried, don't get me wrong. Like, we've seen a lot of attempted pinches and crossfires, but shots just simply were not there, or there was a misstep somewhere, a small positional mistake, and it was costing massively. But now going into defense, they have a chance to try to put that same wrath back onto StrikeX. I mean, other than CCTV, as long as you can lock down your power positions, it's relatively easy to start racking up rounds fast.
Jesus. I've just noticed something that's even more terrifying about these players. There's 2 things we haven't taken into account yet. There may not be an overtime, but if there is, we're going to see it, and it's going to be really difficult for them both sides to play out, because that's 12 bans gone. But we also get to see the fact that they're not playing the same anymore. They're changing their strategy now, because we don't know how StrikeX attacks. This is their first attacking round. And Wildcard's terrified. They know that they have to go basic. They know they have to go ranked. They can't let them slide even a little bit. So instead of saying the default castle strats, they're thinking, all right, we're going to bring the mute. We're going to bring the plays. We're going to try and shut them down so they cannot get anything. Oh, no. Oh, luckily just barely shooting above the head, not getting Cassiopeia. That's terrifying, though.
Just aimed a little bit too high, but hey, that's the consequences of a late round setup. That's the kind of trouble you can get in if you don't have your reinforcements already laid out. I mean, like I said, or like you said, Cassiopeia got really lucky there, still being alive, because just aim a little bit lower, it'd have been a goner. 100%. They already got that CCTV wall open out the jump. You've got Oryx still bandit tricking, but it doesn't look like they've committed to getting that wall fully open yet, which is good. If they can get that line of sight on the gym, that's easy money. You know, there's one's close garage, and so far, StrikeX is just holding this down as safely as they can, and they don't really need to swing out too aggressively. They do get that gym wall open, finally going to ensure that that breach is sustained. And so far as the initial, StrikeX is getting everything done as they need to, except for a old walk up from main from Blixby. Oryx will be the one to quickly catch that one down. So you lose that pressure point, but otherwise, still pretty good setup.
Definitely with that. And here's the first use of it in an actual match. That canister. The moment you shoot those fire extinguishers, it can become such a problem. Now Bandit now has to push up the stairs. They know somebody's there. They know they have to cause him off. He can't even go for the rotate now. They know he is. They have to lock him out and hopefully go for this wall site. But here comes the push, but they didn't realize they haven't completely closed it off. He jumps in, gets thermite. That's the operator going down early. Ledge is the last one live in a 1v5. He has to go for the pick. But Wildcard shows us that this was a defender-sided map. It was their time to shine. Oh,
Nice shot.
gotta say.
Yeah, that was a really nice shot there. And honestly, I think one of the things that I'm noticing when it came to that, or honestly just overall, is defenders just have way too much free reign right now. I mean, both teams are now pulling that off too. It just seems like attack in general is a struggle. I love that they made that push into Jacuzzi. That was exactly what I was hoping for, is cut off main, cut off Logi, and then run it down bathroom. But I'm very much puzzled why there wouldn't be a single gun pointed at bathroom. You know there was someone holding there on that mirror. You should expect it. So again, it's little gunfighting missteps like that that are just leading to disastrous outcomes. They just kind of have to, know their pre-fire spots and hold them. Otherwise, I think these attack rounds, there could have been a lot more at this point. If it just wasn't for those, I would say room clearing missteps. They're just missing key portions that you should always have a gun up for. And that bathroom is a hot spot.
Definite about that. But this time we get to see their downstairs play. They won the round. They showed us that they can do it. And only 2 more rounds till the ban phase comes out. We have an Asami still gone, a Maverick still gone, but now we lose a Kaiden Ace. We're not going to have any hard breachers left by the end of this. So if they ban Thermite next, Wildcard might actually be able to hold off this until the overtime. But we're just going to wait and see.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
100%, that's all we can really do. I do wonder if Wildcard Queens is going to try to go for an extended roam like we've seen from StrikeX. Though, I would say probably not for the better if they don't roam at all. Just because, obviously caster foresight knowledge. You've got Blackbeard, Ram, and that's a lot of vertical utility. Though Blixby on Deimos does certainly complicate the picture here, but I think really how the positions play out is going to heavily determine the tempo here. StrikeX does have that possibility. This composition is flexible to either go for a direct take or maybe just play off a vertical. It really comes down to positionally how Wildcard Queens wants to run this down. And from what we saw last round, they pretty much were heavily anchored. So I think they're going to take this vertical quite quickly and try to get the most out of it. What are you thinking?
I think you're right about that, because in this time, I don't think there's any pressure. This Blackbird's going to go straight to the CC wall. No one's going to be there questioning or have any problems. They're taking all of this, I gotta say, placement space. They're just going to take all of this, keep walking down. There's nobody roaming. There's nobody second floor. Ed Blixby gets scampy. The only person who's even slightly off of sight, who's just on the staircase trying to return back. Hatches were solved. Here comes the danger. Everyone's in sight. They've turtled it, but they haven't reinforced enough to be able to shut anyone down. That hatch will get open. Those impact tricks barely missing. Oh, I guess it's not going to get it, luckily. But still, it's more than enough.
2. Yeah, it's only a 2. You're not going to be able to get it open with that. But here's the next round. They do manage to shoot those out, still delaying getting that hatch open. But it only takes 1 more round to pellets, and you've got 12 remaining. You can impact all you want, but it's not going to stop it whatsoever. They do get the pings onto Jaeger. Going to be all the way into Blue Hole, so not going to be able to capture that. A little bit too early, I would say, to call for that type of utility. But either way, right now, StrikeX is in perfect position to really clamp down. It just comes down to the setup. Now, another impact goes through. Does look like they stopped that kitchen hatch. Those sound cues are making it look confusing. But in any case,
I think they actually did get it. I think it did get the last one there. But I don't even think they're worried about it anymore. Now they realize it's hatch drop time. They have a Fenrir on the board. They've pinged the gadget, luckily, so Deimos can hunt him down. I do wonder how many characters Deimos has, but for now, there's 4 live on the side of the defense with a minute left. They have to drop there. Your hatch is opened. Got to be even more careful with this. If they drop, Orcs is waiting. But there's Blackbeard just running down there. No pressure, no Goyer traps, nothing to slow him down. I don't even think that was reinforced.
No, there was a lot that was not reinforced. And usually that hatch, delaying it that long would be a big problem. But because everything was soft, they were able to run it down immediately, which saves quite a lot of time. B's now coming out, same with nades. Pressure starting to stack up. Could see a drop very soon. There is Shift Day, the first to drop. Tries to catch one, but can't. Bully to cut it off. 30 seconds now remaining. Cassiopeia is still down, however. So enough of those shots were there to put her out of the fight. The Dip Morgan going to be the one to confirm it. 20 seconds on the clock. They have to send this forward. Rivet tries, but gets cut off from the sidelines. That's going to be thanks to Oryx. Sweepo next to follow. Big damage coming out. Now a 2v3. They can't get past this choke point. Diffuser stuck in tunnel. Going to have to walk the way up. Blixby gets caught as well, and a desperate drop doesn't work. Wildcard Queens keeping themselves up for a little bit longer.
Oh, we've got a match starting now. I was scared. But we might actually see an OT now, which is going to be even better. Only thing is, I've noticed something. They're playing trap operators, but they're playing them for the last 30-second meta. They're not playing it for, let's strat this out long term. They're not playing for, let's delay. They're thinking, all right, these guys like to rush in the last 30 seconds. We place it down, we prepare to catch them off guard and making them show they actually have to rush and make mistakes. which is good to capitalize on them. But if Strike, even for a second, decide, you know what? Let's take this a bit earlier. There is nothing to stop them.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
No, not at all. I mean, right now, Wildcard Queens is similar to what we saw from Strike X. They're holding this really comfortably on their defense. It all just comes down to the breakaway, because by the books, Strike X had everything going for them. You had soft walls, soft hatches, you had vertical, kitchen hatch was open, albeit it took a lot of time to finally get that open. But it's inevitable. It's more how much time can you stall in. Wildcard Queens, they stalled it pretty dang heavily, but they couldn't find that opening. And this is where I'm starting to see who might be the winner of this matchup. I don't know which specific team will do it, but I think it really just comes down to who is able to push past these choke points and get their trades to establish site. Whoever can do that, because so far, neither team has done it, and the only attack was won by Wildcard Queens, and that was on a force plant, which I would hardly count that as being able to, raw gun for gun take site. It was more like a gap walk-in. But whoever can do that, I would say is going to claim this map.
You're definitely about that, and here we get to see something interesting. Not only do we have the Jaeger running through basement, being prepared to go for this multi when he tries to walk upstairs, which he's not even going to have to have seen him yet. So they're just waiting to put a bit of pressure, but he gives his position away a bit too early on that. But now we get to see... Oh, I actually just remembered something. You might not know this. Apatow is nerfed because of the fact that Jaegers can now catch them bolts properly like it used to be. And there's the bandit trick getting off, stopping a charge again. But
So
gonna
far,
get the
they're doing
second.
what? Oh, they do.
It hurts to see. And the fact that Jaegers now finally got back to site safely, which is good, but they cannot open that wall even if they want to. There's no more charges in the pocket. They just have to go up through the staircase or push up red, but he did not get the wire, so Monty's going to take a little bit of chip damage. And it does not matter because the Doc's going to be on rafters getting the kills, but he gets peeked from the window by the bandit, becoming a 3v5. The punishment ringing out.
Yeah, another down comes out too. Great swing coming in from I Love You Secret, though refrag from Blexby will come through. But either way, the stage is already set. A lot of critical space lost, whether it was garage with Monty or getting CCTV wall open, or rather not getting it open. This is a really hard sell, though she does have a minute remaining. So it's not over until it's Jover, obviously, but I mean, with the diffuser being up the stairs, the barb not being broken, being low HP, and everyone on Wildcard Queens, it looks like, knows that that's where diffuser is. Shooting out the drone immediately, yeah, not a lot you can do there, unfortunately. He tries to get across, no shot. But yeah, I mean, that's, again, it's what I've been saying. Like, making these breakthroughs. Clubhouse is all about choke point busting, and neither team can get it. It's either force plant or nothing.
It looks like we might have a pause, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see what the ban is. Oh, the players have a problem, so it looks like they will have to rehost in a second. 5v4, but something interesting. We've lost the Goya now, and we've lost the Monty. Monty was impressive in that last round. Wasn't perfect. You'll probably come back to our lovely faces in a second, but Asami, Maverick, Hyde, Ace, and Monty. So, welcome back to our lovely faces. I gotta hear your opinion. I've been writing a couple notes and looking at the match, and I need to know something. What did you think was going on in their head in that last 3 rounds? Because rookie mistakes were coming out. I want to know what your opinion was.
Honestly, I really think it just comes down to possibly coordination issues. Because, I mean, when you saw the Monty there, and this is where I kind of disagree where you say Monty was oppressive there, and he really wasn't. He was in a corner on garage balcony, all alone with minimal support whatsoever, no follow-up. And when a follow-up did come through, immediately sniped out of existence, forced to drop the shield, and gets shot from 3 different angles. You had bottom garage, you had CCTV window, then the balcony itself. I mean, there's not a lot you can do there. But I really do think that it just honestly comes down to there seems to be a lack of confidence on who's going to go first. We see this a lot when there's a team that is really heavy in self-preservation. Like, oh, I don't want to die by pushing this. But you're never going to win games unless you accept the fact that when you push this, someone's going to die. And that's not what's important. What's important is, did you get the refrag? Did you get space? Was it done time efficiently? Did you get keyed utility out? That death has to have a purpose behind it. That's the whole point of KOST. And right now, for both teams on attacking, the KOST is down the gutter. Like, a lot of these deaths are not having any impact because they're not breaking through, which is what needs to happen in order to win attack rounds, especially on a bunker heavy site or map like Clubhouse. You have to do it. You got to find a way. And I think both teams are struggling with it. And this is where right now it's actually important that we saw that 1 round win on attack, because it seems like neither team can quite get that down, and being able to nail that force plant, that 1 round, that's all it takes in order to win the match outright. That's a 5-7. And that's the path that we're heading right now. So we're seeing a lot of trouble potentially for Strike X. If they cannot get something down, whether it's a force plant, which seems to be the best option for either one of them, it's over, right? Like, sure, by the books, it wasn't really smart that we saw Wildcard Queens just constantly trying to get these force plants. But considering how much they were struggling on choke points, they made a correct read, and they got one. Strike X can't do that. They're done. That's a 5-7. They have to pull 1. There's really not much of a choice for them at this point. But I think that's really what's going on here, if you ask me.
You're definitely right about that, and it sounds like we'll hopefully go back into the match as well soon. So I will argue with you about the Monty, because if the fountain pressure he exudes is just intense, that mountain spirit. But these girls aren't done yet. They're not ready to give up the crown. They're not ready to do this. The rehost was due to attack timeout glitch, which will hopefully be sent off to Ubisoft soon. So we'll head into the match. The bans are being sorted. Don't worry. I am thinking one thing. Goyo's now off the board. He's gone during overtime. It could go either way for me, especially because of the defense flip. But looking at how Strike X have the attack OT, I'm thinking they had something in their pocket. I'm thinking there's some sort of pocket strat, a nice makeup kit, just being prepared to put an end to this entire game in Shroud. But
potentially.
But as you know, it's not over yet. Not until we all start singing. Let's head right back into it. Everything should be set up correctly. And 5-4 ban, yep. Let's see. They can't change the bans, I don't believe. But it was Goyo. I remember seeing him on defense. And Maverick on attack. There we go.
Yeah. Wait. Actually, the bans were Goyo and Montagne, actually.
Yeah, it was. They straight up... No, Monty's already been banned. That's my point. They have to fix it.
Oh, wait, no, they banned it earlier. Okay, I see. The bans were kind of flipped around. Let's see.
It's been fixed. There we go.
Yeah, no, it's good now. It looks like it. Or is it?
It's just Habana's, for some reason, showed up as Maverick. Maverick showed up as Habana.
No, it's not correct. You have Fenrir banned. Fenrir was not previously banned. That was in place of Goyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Goyo was supposed to be banned. Everything else is correct, though.
Alright, looks like we're going to have to read this for a second time. This is one of the things CJX has been done. They did click Goyo. We watched them click Goyo. They tried to ban Maverick, but instead of Maverick being banned, it's just a bit weird. So we're going to probably send it off to a break here for a couple minutes. Is there anything you want to say before we head off?
Nah, send it.
All right. Perfect. Welcome back, everyone. So, bans have been completely cleared. So there's no more bugging problems. There's no more weird things happening. everyone just gotta remember, Maverick and Goyo are now banned, along with Monty, Asami, and here comes the problem. Same operators for this strat, but Malushi's been switched out instead of Amira. I'm wondering if this is going to be the play of we're going to slow them down at last. We're going to show them that that couple minutes break we had with technical pauses and stuff is actually going to be used to talking. It's going to be used for discussion. What do you think happened on the back end?
Not 100% sure. I mean, we can always kind of speculate. But I do like the fact that Rivet is pulling out the blitz, though. I really do think that they are going to genuinely try to commit to running it down, like I said before. Which, I mean, they kind of have to. It's their saving grace at this point. But I mean, what are you thinking? Kind of went on, you know, prior to this round now going on and about.
I'm probably guessing the next 20 seconds, but looking at how they're swinging this, you gotta be even more terrified now. Setup's really late. 2 minutes 30 left. I'm not even sure what's gonna happen.
Well, despite the late setup, Rivet just got absolutely popped, and same with Blixby. Tried to go for a fast take on the CCTV, and that front has completely collapsed. A very successful early shutdown, initial entry denial for Wildcard Queens. That's going to put them still on the fast track to potentially winning this. Again, attack's just been a struggle point, and Strike X, they want to find that entryway directly onto site, but nothing. They haven't gotten a chance yet. But they still have 3 more rounds, including this one, to try to figure that out. But that opportunity's closing, and they got to get it pretty dang soon.
This is the problem of a 3v5 situation so early into the game with 1.5 minutes left. That wall's not even been breached into CC yet. They know Habana's in there. They know they have to push up. All the walls are getting opened. Everything's getting reinforced. And Malusi, Gadget, and Mitchum are going to start pinging her. And you also get the audio projectile noise as well. Just got to be even more careful with those little beepers. But now here comes the problem. Do you go for the swing, do you go for the push, or do you just sit there and hope? Because at the moment, it looks like that wall is going to get opened. You're going to have to watch this person swinging around there, luckily getting 2 picks, but not being able to finish the mute. So mute actually gets his own refrag onto Thermite. Habana opening it up with a 2v3, yes, but now they have to just try to push up in the most dangerous situation through construction with 50 seconds left. No drones in pocket, everything's on the field.
At least they were able to get cash. That's a good step. That's one of many choke points that they have to push through. But yeah, like you said, this Logi is going to prove troublesome, and they don't really have a whole lot of time to try to drone this stuff. No drones in pocket. Whatever drones there are out in the field, that's all they've really got. But they can still tag this together if they can get out of construction. With 23 seconds on the clock, time now to make that move. Flashes go out. Looks like this is the direction they're going to pick. Gets pre-fired out from Bully over Jim, unaffected by flashes. And the last shot from Logi. That's going to be I Love You Secret to clean that one out.
I gotta say, beautiful shots, but no drones. The drone economies went downhill quite fast now. Sadly, this is where the big plays are going to come out. They have to remember operators. They got to remember which bands, what's not. And they're also going to have to think about the fact of they have to win either 2 rounds now or go to OT. There's no choice anymore now. And we get a Thatcher, Grim, Habana, Deimos, and Blackbeard. That attack lineup is just defines toxicity for me.
Yeah, it's definitely got a certain aura to it. Like I said, I'm still looking for that force plant, but Rivet does provide that opportunity. Every time I see some way that they can break through, I see hope. Shift A on the Grim certainly helps that as well. But how far they get into doing that, I can't say for sure. But from what I can see, it does look like Wildcard Queens, they could potentially roam this heavy, and that could be the perfect opportunity for them to strike X. Sorry. But for them to try to force a plant. That could be just what they need. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't really see either team being able to cleanly, push onto site. No one's successfully done it. It's not even a consideration at this point. It's more like, can they try to flip a coin on a force and hold it? Wildcard Queens at this point would have done it multiple times. They ran it like 3 times before they got it once. StrikeX hasn't done it a single time. Now that it's 5-5, I'm starting to get worried. Unless they
You're
can get
definitely
a
right
big
about
attack
that.
off.
I'm gonna say it's not on the cards, but you've already made the dad joke for this match. Here we go. Hatch, rotate, trying to open as much as they can. They have the impact still in the pockets. Vigil goes for 1, but they still don't know about the player above. Hopefully joining him out with this Grim. No, Vigil's, nope, they're just gonna drop in IQ. Grim's not gonna find out about the Vigil. And they're just gonna hear him. He just should not move yet. Just wait a couple more seconds. But he is gonna get heard when he stands up and goes to the crouch. But Vigil gets across, and they trade. That's painful. That's a 4v3 and goes down as well. Sweetfo getting a nice little angle, taking out the bandit from below. That's painful to see.
This is actually pretty big for StrikeX right now. They've got 2 down, Oryx and I Love You Secret, both out of the way. You still have 1 more person trying to hold it close to the stairs. That's going to be Scammy with the shotgun. Drone does spot him out. Nice shot midair. But whether that actually goes anywhere is kind of the question. They now have that full vertical, everything they need to try to make the move down. But whether they do is the question. Now the vertical's set up. But Cassiopeia, amidst the smoke, barely manages to get out, gets hit with concussion, but still not at one point getting hit with a single bullet, falls all the way back onto site. So again, it's now a classic tale of busting through. But with Rivet on the shield, as long as he doesn't go down, Blackbeard, they could very much have a clean shot at getting a plant down.
This is one of the things I'm always worried about. They now know where people are. They know what's happening. There's 45 seconds left. He's got to push them out. There's the nade. Comes out from Rivet. Getting a lucky pick. That's a 2v4. This might be their round to take. Taking downstairs, which is one of the hardest attacks to go. Diffuser starting to go down for the plant while Jaeger has to swing. Cannot kill the Blackbird, but the nade does not kill him. Luckily, he's staying alive. And the 2v4 goes down for the Kevin, but Jaeger is finally gets taken out by the Blackbeard in a 1v4. Smoke is up. Diffuser is down.
Yeah, this is big. Scammy, the last one alive. Now a 1v3 with 30 seconds. Has to get out of church. Now all those hard points turn into a disadvantage. Rivet on that Blackbeard being such a major pain point with 20 seconds to go. Has to get active. Does get the down onto Sweetfo. Takes him out. Still has to deal with Rivet across the room. You still have 1 above. This is a tight situation, but with the clock ticking, can't find 1. Gets funneled onto focusing in Rivet. And that will be the breadwinner as they bring it into now match point. That is what needed to happen. And StrikeX, they did it.
The Blackbeard play worked out well for them. I'm not going to say it was a crutch. I'm just going to say I hate it.
Fair enough.
But there's something now. Are we going to see the same attacking lineup? Because we know they're going to go upstairs now. They lost downstairs too quickly, too-handedly. I have a feeling that this is where it comes out differently. They are expecting an upstairs attack that looks like bringing the Ram, but they might have something that I don't know. Because normally their attack always includes a Capitao if they know it's upstairs. Valkyrie, Bandit, Wamai, Doc, and Jaeger. I think that Doc is going to be the most oppressive part of this if he can hold rafters again without any trouble.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that allowed him to hold it so well last time was that there was no gun to worry about. So he was able to keep that check the entire time. Now, if that changes and they stack up on Garage, he might try to bite off more than he can chew, potentially. But yeah, it does look like StrikeX was anticipating basement. They have changed their operators, thank goodness, because I don't know what all you're going to do with a Ram on second floor. I mean, other than dang near nothing. At least Buck can shoot from below. Yeah, so the composition is fully changed out, and it does look like Wildcard Queens, for the most part, is anchored heavy. You still have the Valkyrie below. That's going to be I Love You Secret. Going to be holding that. But I think if they can get those 2 cleared out, they should be ripe for success, because this is one of the most attacker-sided sites on Clubhouse. there's a lot of viability here if they can just get those keys to success in their hands.
You're definitely right about that, and this Captain might be able to get a nice lucky play with a shootout, getting his toes. Actually, no, he's got a shot on the wall. There's a drone watching him, and he can get out luckily into lounge. Hopefully going back to main, maybe getting this person in bar. But there's too much danger. Here comes the Thatcher, yaw, along with the Yeet. Just, you know, causing a wee bit more havoc. Capital Fire comes out to hopefully get this bandit charges off the wall and just shut down this entire system. That's that new vault drop where you cannot ADS. Oh, that's a big one. My taken off as well. There's another one. He's now got his third one coming out the fire, stopping Bandit from getting even anywhere close. That breach is finally going to get opened. Time for the shutdown and shutout with Dokebi getting a lovely pick on the dock. That early run out. Pain coming out there. But we still have one more person off-site, which they've not droned. So now they have to make sure to clear everything. Umai has to rush back through sight. Those nades pushing him out of place in a 4v5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as long as Rivet doesn't overplay his part, Scammy's kind of stuck here. Nade coming out, pushing them all the way back, especially losing that garage is so big. Bully going down, that was what I was so surprised to see. They have full garage control. This is a lot of pressure for Wildcard Queens to deal with. They have to get some kind of pushback, and I think Love You Secret, it's going to be their last chance. Cassiopeia taking Sweet Foe, that's a bit of a pushback. There's the run-up coming in from Rivet. Deep into construction, takes Cassiopeia down. You still have that player below, but it's a player advantage nonetheless. 2 on site, the Diffuser going down, Shifty gets taken out. That's what he thinks that I Love You Secret, but it looks like the Diffuser's gonna go down, especially as Oryx gets taken off. Nitro comes in way too late. Doesn't connect onto anyone, and now this is a dire situation. 1 on Repel, Shield and Construction. It's gonna be really hard to try to save this situation, as Scammy and Love You Secret are both spread out. Goes for the shot, but Rivet can't connect. It's too slow, catches the Repel player. Suddenly, this just became much more savable for Wildcard Queens. Now comes down to getting that Diffuser. Both tagged, everyone taking major damage, and they get the shots off. I Love You Secret taking Dip Morgan down. And with that, what looked impossible has been done. We're going to overtime.
Oh, I've got to say, there's something you might not know. That new lean system of going round buildings where you can get onto really nice angles, there's a really nuts one you can get with just where that Thatcher was standing. If he just repelled up, he could have held the entire rafter stairs, and it's so oppressive. But it was shut out. But there's the timeout being called out. Luckily, this is where the plan's going to come out and change. Everyone needs to talk. Remember the bans, it's OT. They're actually supposed to pick them now out of the 6 that were banned. They need to flick it around, pick them, there's 6 banned, and then flip the next round. Here comes the problem. Strike's attack. They chose this. They did well in their attack for the first time, but it's going back to CC, which they just lost after having every card in the pocket set down. Wildcard needs to confirm. There, everyone knows the bans. So they chose Tubarao. Having Tubarao be brought out. It's not what you want to see this early. So just because that's going to be a complete shutout. You gotta have to remind me, does Tubarao affect Capitals? I don't believe so, right?
No, it doesn't have any effect on the Capitals that I know of. But here's what's important here. Everything started going wrong on this site for Wildcard Queens prior to their very strong retake when that wall got open. Everyone on Strike X was completely surrounding the site, and there wasn't a lot that they could do. But when they kept that wall open, cleanest win they could have gotten. But Strike X was still horrifyingly close to winning. I mean, very, very close. It was just a rough post plant. That was it. Otherwise, they had it in the bag. So, fundamentally, Wildcard Queens lost a round, even though technically they didn't. So, by having that Tubarao, what they can do is when all the utility dump comes out, Capital, the flashes, of which there are none, smokes, any other kind of utility, or Thatchers, you throw those Tubaraos, and now you have a buffer to hold on to that wall for just long enough, slow it down, in order to get those bandit charges back down to shut it off.
I do believe the bandits have changed how they work a little bit now with two brows since the last season. So you're gonna have to be even more careful with where you put that two brow charge though. But they're not gonna worry about it. They're gonna throw out the cap towels, burn them off of it, go for the Thatchers, and two brows just gonna have to yeet. Oh, but it did not matter to get picked from the drone hole. That's bandit completely off the board. As long as a second Thatcher goes out in time. That's the pain. That's a horrible place to be with. Also, Cassiopeia being put down to half health, but there's the Dock Stinger. He fill it in a 5v4, but didn't have the second Thatcher charge come out. It needs to come out now, but that Capitao, he needs to go and repel in that window to stop this, because they've got more than enough time. He's throwing those two brows perfectly. If they don't get rid of that bandit now, it's gonna destroy it again. There's no way that wall's gonna get opened. It's up to the Blackbeard now, all in construction as well. A 5v3.
No, it really does just come down to that last little wall, and Rivet going down as well. That's going to be a bit of a pushback, but it looks like they're not going to be getting that wall open at all. That's a big blow, because like we said before, Wildcard Queens can win it with that major advantage, but they're still down one player at the end of the day. But they took out Blackbeard, which is big. That's a huge buffer for them. They don't have to get immediately in your face off the rip. They still have balcony control. So Wildcard Queens can easily hold this out, just as long as these three players hold it tightly and do not overextend. Because two players, now you're just asking to get walked in on. Three, you got to worry about a cross and an offhand player. That's a lot harder to deal with. But regardless, it does look like they're still going to aim for potentially walk in. You got two smokes being held by both Capital and Thermite. It looks like those are all going to get deployed. They're going to try to go for that walk in. But Shift Day and Blixby are going to get some big damage down. Now it's going to be up to Cassiopeia. Can't hold on. And there's the execute. That's the push through. Well done, Strike X. You're now back in control. And at a crucial time, as they'll be going into defense next.
And here's a defense round swap. Bans are set back to there. Bans are Monty, Ace, I believe Maverick, Kaid, Sammy, and Fenrir. Yep. There we go. Randy's typing it out as I'm going. Love to see it. But something we're going to have to be even more terrified about, though, is that this is Strike X defense. They're going basement. They're not bringing the Goyo. They're not bringing anything else like they can because they're not sure. So we're going to have to see them. They're playing with kitty gloves now. They're restricted. They need to win this. Otherwise, wildcards can handle it. Just take it completely on the next defense. What does your big brain here tell you? Go ahead.
My big brain is screaming red flags right now. And here's why. Correct me if I'm mistaken, because I might be. Didn't Strike X... Isn't this the only site that Strike X lost? When they ran it down into basement? Yeah, I don't like that at all. I do not like that. Similar to how Wildcard Queens ran it on CCTV, which was a one site that they really were fighting tooth and nail to keep. And now Strike X is doing the same on basement. Don't like that. I mean, and
this
you
time
gotta keep
they're
in mind Goyo's
reinforcing.
banned too. Well,
Goyo.
that's a start.
Goyo's not
but-
banned, actually. Just nobody's bringing him. But it's the fact of... This is the concern now. They're not checking things. They've reinforced, which is great. Vigil is now roaming upstairs. 4 drones, I believe, have just been taken off. No, sorry. 3 drones have just been taken off the board, which is a lot of utility gone. Site starts. They're going to have to clear out this Vigil top floor, or they're just going to have to go straight into site. They don't know what they have to do.
Well, and you also have Blixby all the way into Strip Club, so you've got a decent roam. And this composition that Wildcard Queens is bringing does not scream a force plant whatsoever. And that was the only time they won their attack round. So, don't get me wrong, I don't like the fact that Strike X is on basement, but I don't think Wildcard Queens really has an enabling composition that's going to help them here. They do spot the Valkyrie. That's already one piece of the roaming puzzle that they're starting to hunt down, but it does look like they will be able to fully fall back. At least that's another number that's still up for them.
Hatch is going to get opened as well. It's not what you want to see. And the fact that Blixie does just rush back out, wasting his life. Not what you want to see in a 4v5 situation now. Jackal was tracking, but Jackal only pings once now. He's not as aggressive as he used to be, that frag grenade coming out to push the mid off the stairs, but he's still going to be throwing it with his shotgun, getting a lovely headshot on the IQ, taking her out of the field. 4v4. Nice to tie it up.
Still a really big mixed bag here. I mean, yeah, you lost your Valkyrie, but you also lost IQ as well. And it all comes down to how they actually get onto site. Again, we don't have any bunker buster operators other than maybe the scamming. Nitro placed. It all comes down to how they make their move after the setup, because they're gonna get it. StrikeX, from what I can tell, is not wanting to push up anymore. Blixby did try to do that, got wiped out of existence. So it's really just a matter of who's gonna take the first hit.
Definitely about that, and the Dark Rivage just keeps peeking this Dogebi. That's not a position I want to be in, even with an ACOG. Having that horrible one-way where you just have to tap the head. No risk, no reward. What? 4v4, 40 seconds left. About to get electric.
Yeah, with only 35 seconds remaining, eventually Drop's going to go down, and it's going to be Oryx to do that. Throws the flash and goes on down. Rivet getting taken out. That's what he thinks I love you secret. Those ones close on the corner, but can she find him? We don't know. Still holding it. The shotgun comes out, takes out Scammy. There's still one close by on the head heights. That's going to be Oryx, but it doesn't matter as the shots connect, and we will see a wipeout as we're going to go into now double OT. It just keeps going. Both teams winning their attack, interestingly enough, folks.
Here's the Goyo finally taken off the board. Sammy's gone again. Kai's gone. Just the pain of it all. I've got to say, I'm not happy with how this is going. They should have had that round. They had the time. There's that sixth operator of the time, and they're just not using it this time. Strike X have now got to win the attack on Gym Bedroom, the one site I believe they've not won at all. Yes, they've been making dumb mistakes on it. They should have been winning this at least a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I do wonder how they'll handle cash. That, honestly, I think is going to be the biggest problem. If they struggle and fumble cash like they have several times in the past, Wildcard Queens wins this by and far. Because StrikeX will get desperate. They're going to try to run it down either main or Logi, and they're going to get caught out in the open. And it will be a bloodbath. We've seen that happen several times. So I really do wonder how Cash is going to end up going. It does look like Wildcard Queens is going to invest more heavily into keeping that jacuzzi wall open, as we do see a Love You's secret on that tuber route yet again. Oh, and it does look like somebody crashed, unfortunately. But either way...
No time to pause either.
I do believe that Rehos will go through regardless. Yeah, confirmed. So,
damn.
I do wonder what StrikeX is going to try to go for here, what their plan will be, whether or not they try to go for a push from Cash, or if they try to be a little bit more direct, because they did get hit with a lot of runouts too. Either way, having double OT match point and being on defense, or I'm sorry, being on attack, yeah, bit of a nightmare scenario. So what do you think they're going to try to do differently in order to pick up this one final round? Or are we calling it now, chalk it, it's over? What are we thinking?
I'm not going to say chalk it, because this is actually one of the few sites where I did look at it. I had to look back at my notes. They did get this round, but they lost it just in the final moments of it. When they all decided to rush into gym and getting shot out by a Jaeger who jumped through bathroom. Dumb mistake. Sorry, it wasn't Jaeger's bandit. But if they can fix that, they actually had it. They had a 4v2 on the site, 4v3 on the site, and then just chucked it at the very end. So I'm thinking they can clutch this out. But they're not over. Strike X is the one that I'm calling an underdog. You said they're one of the best teams in this. I'm thinking that they're going to be the surprising underdog where they were winning handedly and have had the tooth and nail claw back now. Wildcard, fantastic team. They've showed that they know the map. They just show that they're not strong on attack. Yes, they've been able to capitalize on certain mistakes. Yes, they've been able to capitalize on other things. But neither team have been able to show what I truly want to see from them. And that's going to be seeing the rivals, seeing their big brain plays. Oh, we also have B Stream. Rivals won it. So if anyone missing that, welcome over to this side. This is where the pain's going to come out for them. We need to see Strike X not only capitalize on mistakes, using the Hannah to open all those castles early, having the second Hard Breachers come out. Oh, wait. Hold on. Yes, Thermite is banned in this case. Only aces, ace and mouth. So having those come out to try and open the wall, maybe, and then also try and open construction. Don't worry about cash as much. Maybe have people try to push me in stairs. Clearing off common angles by going outside and using windows. There's 46 operators in this game. They still have the 6th pick because somebody crashed. But they chose Dokebi and Habana. I'm hoping they have something else besides use the gadget, catch off roamers, shoot, maybe go for plants, clear out downstairs early. But we're just gonna have to wait and see because these guys know how to turtle it. They know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds as if, though, we're likely to head back into the match in a second. Is there anything you want to say quickly, just in case we have to go to a break, maybe?
Honestly, the only other thing I would say is if you want to ignore cash, perfectly fine. Just do not let them use that as a run out opportunity on you. Because that will be a round killer for sure. I can definitely see the value in that, especially with how much trouble there has been around cash. But if they completely ignore it, yeah, it's gonna hurt. Because I believe there was one round where they did absolutely get curb stomped trying to attack
round I was
it.
talking about.
Yeah, they got ran out, peeked from that balcony like 3 times. Yeah, it was rough. So you can ignore it, but you still gotta respect it, right? We kind of talked about how this was a matchup of not respecting the attack whatsoever. This is one of those moments where you could absolutely bait that out and punish the life out of it. All of the habits, all of the behaviors, all the trends are locked in. This is the time to flip it on its head, especially if you're a Strike X on attack. You really don't have an option.
You're definitely right with that. And from the looks of it, we might have to go to break. It seems like there's probably other issues going on. Oh, no, I was wrong. They got us straight into it. Perfect. We get to see that swap. Strike X, we know there's sites upstairs. They cannot change operators, so let's hope for the best.
Yeah, that's all we certainly can do at this point is hope for the best for both of them because, yeah, it's going to be definitely a bit of an uphill battle. For Wildcard Queens, it's going to be holding Jacuzzi wall because Strike X does like to walk through that, and it can get ugly fast if they clear check their corners. But for Strike X, the cash problem. What are they going to do about cash? Both of these teams have their own distinct struggles that they have to deal with. Their strong suits, their weak suits. Whoever can manage it better takes it.
You're definitely right about that. Here's the thing. I keep forgetting Tubbs was on the field. That TMR, if that's what Secret's running, I don't know if it was. But even then, that's going to be even more dangerous on that long angle now. So, I'm not sure if you know. Because of how the lighting changes and stuff like that, you can actually hide pretty far away, and even with that red outline, you can get a really nasty angle from where those CCTVs are, all the way outside into where that spawn can be. And if somebody's rappelling on that window, try and use those special angles to get a line of sight from B into A and so on, you can actually shut it down quite easily with the Tubber assault rifle, but I'm not sure. We do get to see the Blackbeard come out, and we get to see Swift onto Valkyrie. Sorry, Swift on Habana. 3 minutes 40. This Blackbeard's just going to rush. I don't even think they're going to care about it. They've droned it all out. They know what the plan is. They know the roam game is very shallow, but they are focusing on CC again. Hopefully, they're being prepared for this.
I do like this angle. Whoa, that's a fast push in from Rivet. I like it, though. Trying to push this out quickly, immediately getting that wall open. Wildcard Queens thought they could get a stall. That's not happening. Now they got a shield in their face. They do have nitros in hand, though, and we're going to see that get thrown out immediately. That's going to force Rivet into a box corner here, but you don't have really a side cross angle to try to hit at him, so he's going to be able to free reign that. That's just a Nitro off the board. And like you said, with only one drone out for so much space they've taken off the rip, this is looking good, except for the fact that Bully just dipped Morgan off from the balcony. Riven going down as well. That stinks. I love you, Secret. That's a big misstep, as well as Blixby trying to go in rogue to take something, but runs into the cross. And already, Cash has just collapsed for Strike X. Good initial, but man, taking space, not even an inch.
Oh, the pain of it. As I was wrong, no DMR. But they just forgot about it. They forgot the pressure. They forgot the drone holes. They forgot to use the creative plays, using nades. And I'm worried this Savannah's just going to drop and try and go for the swing here. Secret has punished your team time and time again. Thermite, yes, he's causing a distraction, but it might not be enough. He just baited it himself, and he does not get any reward out of it. Now Sabana is setting a 1v5. She needs the ace clutch this to win this. With that 2-brow ace and CC, and he's not alone. A minute left, has to swing. Luckily gets a shot in the mute. No, he's still got to face this 2-brow, his greatest adversary at this moment. Shift and Secret are not letting this slide. 1v4, he's got 43 seconds. What do you think's going to happen here?
I think Shift gets absolutely wiped out here. Knows that there's one servers, but Secret's playing this so close. Wasn't expected to rotate, though, interestingly enough. But either way, with 30 seconds remaining, there's not a lot you can do there. But I do want to quickly say, ooh, nice shot. I love the way the 2-brow was used. Slowing using that canister to cut off the swing angle to allow focus on fighting the window. Amazingly done. That's how you break pinches with utility in the best way possible. But moving on, 8 seconds remaining, no diffuser in hand. Gonna have to run this down. That fire is gonna cut him off. You do have one lurking from top red stairs, but it doesn't matter. There's no way to get in, and this is Wildcard Queen's victory and a little teabag to finish it off.
Wanted a hug. Castle just wanted to come up and give her a little hug. It's a good game, GG. These girls were women, but Wildcard had their crown. They knew what they wanted. The tiara was shined and polished for their victory this time. 8-7. Hosk. Welcome back to our lovely faces. There's a little bit of BM from both teams, but respectfully so. This is Project Luna. I do believe we have another match, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do actually have another matchup. So we're not going to be done quite yet. But in any case, yeah, I mean, this really was just a defense, slog fest. But I really do love the fact that they were both able to pull up an attack on their overtime. I was not expecting that at all. I really wasn't. When I saw Strike X pull the attack, I was like, okay, they won this. It's over. And then they lost on defense. I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty dang cool. I was not expecting that at all. Where that was for the rest of the game, however, don't know. But in any case, yeah, I mean, that was absolutely what they needed to do. I mean, it's really unfortunate that Strike X was never able to figure out that cash problem. But I mean, regardless, I mean, there was still big improvements from both sides towards the end. They both realized that they can't win by just nailing defense every time, and they learned to start really sending it down. And I think that was a great step in the right direction. But either way, yeah, I'm not too surprised that's super close. That tends to be what happened when you have like defender-heavy teams that struggle on attack. You're gonna hit overtime, right? You're gonna stack 5 or 6 rounds, maybe a round outlier, and then you're gonna nail overtime. It happens all the time, and this is no different.
You're definitely right about that, but I'm gonna send us into a quick break here. We'll hear more of your thoughts afterwards, but for now, I want to go research what just happened in their B stream, so give us a couple minutes, we'll be back in a bit. Of course, it's me muted on the VMix. It's my actual Elgato. He just likes to turn off VMix, I don't know why. But, as I can say, welcome back everyone. Sorry for the bit of a wait. Rival 7 versus Wildcard Queens. We get to see a beautiful final match. Anything you want to say, Pearson?
No, honestly, I'm just looking forward to getting right into it, honestly.
Please make sure you're unmuted as well, just to make absolutely sure, because I can't handle me being stupid twice today. But looking at those people, we've got Shrimp, Spleech, Alios, MVRI, and Bagel. Pretty sounds good right now. But we've also seen Wildcard pull it up. Cassiopeia showing and doing work. I Love Secret just putting in the work to try and make sure they won that final round, saving their team versus Striker. So I get to say we're going to Border. What do you think of Border? I gotta hear your opinion for this.
Oh, Border is going to be really interesting. I have not seen, I haven't seen them play as far as Border goes, but I'm going to be honest, I really think this is going to be messy. If the attack is going to be anything like, Clubhouse, where it's just about, being able to play together, Border is going to be even worse. Every single problem that you can imagine on Clubhouse, crank that by 10. That's how Border is going to be. Expect nobody to get into sight. If there's even one person who can confidently run out, spawn peek, and swing every single window and door under the sun, especially tied with the pulse, do not expect anyone to get into the building. Expect 3 to 4 1-minute rounds. But that's easier said than done. Do I think there's anyone who's going to be running that? Probably not. I mean, I would hope everyone can at least hold themselves while they're making their way onto the map. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my instincts are correct and it's just run out central. And we're going to be going back to double OT. We'll see.
I'm hoping we don't go back to the OT, but Wildcard's got attack for both OT and regular starting. So that's going to be more of a scary thought to have. But we didn't actually get to see Arrival 7's first match. That was hosted by our two lovely caster partners. So I'm wondering, since Freeman's seen this, since a lot happened, I'm wondering if Jasmine can ever tell me, how did this match go down? Because I'm just not sure if him and Happy thought it was going well or going poorly. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Ace and Mira, taking off the first point. That is a strong two operators to lose early. So I'm wondering if we're going to see some nice spawn peaks. If not, I'm expecting a Valkyrie ban and maybe a Blackbeard.
Yeah, pretty basic ban. And it looks like we'll be... Whoa! Whoa, a Buck ban? Okay.
Buck and a Sami.
That's the last thing I ever expected to see banned. I'm going to have to just ask you bluntly. Why the Buck ban? I'm very much thrown off guard by that.
Buck can work on every site in this game, no matter which... in this map. Whether it's going up vertically or down. Doesn't matter. It's just painful bit after bit. There's something I'm thinking about though. They must have had some sort of plan, because losing Buck this early is detrimental to both sides, especially if you're on the attack. And that's what I'm thinking of. Like, they must have some idea. 'Cause I would have banned Ram. I would have banned maybe Fuse. I would have banned somebody who could have just been there. But okay. I've just thought of another reason for it. There's a reason to ban Buck on the site. The utility, getting rid of his nades, getting rid of everything else. You gotta be prepared for this.
Buck lost his nades, no? Or did they bring it back?
Oh no, they took them away completely, didn't they? And they gave him back flashbangs. You're correct, but it doesn't matter now. They've got the Ayana just full sprint up to East. Just not even gonna give a care in the world. Just gonna run straight into East staircase, hopefully. Drones it out quickly, 2 seconds, sees the guru mine, doesn't care, shoots the camera. Yep, does not have to worry a single thing. Hopefully trying to get this nice line of sight. She just aims slightly to the right. Might be able to peek someone when they try to go for the long angle here. But
I'm surprised no one's gone active at this point.
Not yet. They're taking their time. The first 30 seconds of maybe around like halfway through. There's a lot of utility, and if there's a cap count on the board, you're instantly dead in this map. There's too many combinations for him. So it's time to shut it out as quickly as they can. Oh, Gadget keeps getting stopped because he wasn't close enough. But the repel in, he's got to be prepared for this. They know where the Legion is in office. They hear the Valkyrie C4 ring out, but it does not land. But that's a lot of drone utility gone. 4 drones are off the board early. 5v5 with a minute and a half left, though.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the most calm first rounds on Border I've ever seen. Minute and a half, no picks at all. In fact, after initial entry, pretty much a big slowdown here. No one has even so much as seen each other yet, which I'm really surprised by. But when you've got a setup like this on the Fountain, that is going to prove a bit of a problem for Wildcard Queens. They're going to have to get through this, but with 3 people stacked up, finally get that shield down. Smoke gets popped as well. That's going to give them grounds to start engaging Shrimperton over on A7. But we're going to have to try to find and clear that out. And shots finally come out. Bully catching Hawk Tua. And Wildcard Queens is off to a solid start. Just have to catch this Legion. Can't quite connect the dots on the head. But so far, I'm doing a good job on clearing this out. And wow, what a perfectly timed hop-in from Bully to catch out Shrimperton as well. And so far, they're getting fast control, taking down Fountain 2. Those Fleets a little bit of shots back onto Cassiopeia. Oryx taking manager damage too. But other than that, the slowdown begins, they consolidate, and they have full office and Fountain control. That's a victory in spades. Just have to seal the deal, except for Alios with those smokes trying to slow things down. 28 seconds left on the clock. It's just a matter of taking down at least somebody, and we'll see the spot from Hyuji.
And the little pixel angle, he just taps him right in the shoulder as well. But there is something I have to correct. I was just told by our producer, Zay, that Hakatua is actually Bagel. Gibberish is, I believe, Impala. And Oryx is mine this time around. So the names are a wee bit different than what was shown, yes. That's the same great players. It's the same great ideas. Just, you know, everyone's bantering with their accounts. Streamer mode isn't working at the moment, so don't worry about it. We now get to see something I am excited for. Fenrir being pulled out. Do you think he's going to be more impactful this time around, or is he still just a crutch?
I'm going to say here, I'm going to call it as a crutch. For Wildcard Queens, it was quite direct, unless A7 puts it at the entry points. Not the hallways, not the corridors, but like the entryways into the, I would say, adjacent rooms to site. I'll say they would have a good fighting, or it can have some good mileage. Otherwise, useless. Because I don't think a single Fenrir got popped off that round, or last round at all. I don't expect that to be any different, unless he, like I said, puts them in key positions that cuts them off as they're executing. But if it's, you know, trying to find an ambush, no.
Definitely mad about that. I think it might just be to actually trying to hold Armory Hallway, being very aggressive, because it looks like he's holding CC, no problem. Ooh, lightly gets tapped trying to make it across, though.
Yeah, but I mean, with how many Saf walls you got on this map, that's pretty much inevitable. You're gonna get tapped every once in the blue moon. It's a matter of, is that a random spray, or do they actually have the lock on, you need to get out of there? And from what we can see, just a few random taps ain't gonna kill you, unless it's a full spray, then unlucky. But in any case, it does look like they're gonna start off trying to get that security clear. A really aggressive peek onto the head height. Almost got popped by Hyujin. Really close, but just barely couldn't connect the shot. Really close though, either way. But still, not a lot of initial entry aggression coming from Arrival 7. I'm gonna be honest, that's a big mistake. One of the big ways to play this map is by being aggressive on defense when it comes to map entry denial. Once they walk in, you got problems. I mean, we see just that already. Oryx catching Alos out so early on. That's an immediate pick. And Fenrir, again, just not going to be able to get the mileage out of his utility. That's what I was talking about.
And the zero being used to that one shot just to destroy utility. That wall can now be breached by the Banner. There's a lot of effort that still has to go in, but they don't know if somebody's still in Fountain. Yes, they do. Never mind. Warden actually getting pinged. That's all the way in Armory Lockers just by the little half wall. But Shrimpleton does get a shot through the hatch, luckily evening up to 4v3, helping us an advantage, but Puck Tour gets taken down. Ooh, that's not what you want to see. Just getting spat on at the end, but it doesn't matter. There's 2 for the Valkyrie, taking off 2 massive picks early in the game. Legion now back up the second floor. He's got a 2v1 left. They don't know where he is. They can't call him. So it's time for the utility to come out.
Yeah, they're going to be forced to slow us down big time, but they still have Iana to try to drone this out, unless he fires his shots and completely gives away where he is. Now going to be 1v2. All these pre-fires just giving away exactly where he is, mapping out his exact position. Everyone leaving the building, everyone now outside. It's going to be an outside brawler to try to save this, but he can't plant in the corner. He's completely tucked, does get off, goes for the window swing, but Bowley will be just faster on the draw to collect that last kill.
I love the black ice. I wanted it so much, that special forever ice skin. But it only goes to the first year players, if anyone's wondering. But I gotta ask, do you think that was the right play there? To go for the defuse and then, you know, waiting for the explosion to go off? I think he actually probably should have just stuck it out at that point. What do you think?
Not too sure on that, honestly. Right now, my biggest concern at the moment is the initial entry denial. Where is it? It's not there. Like, of all the maps to play passive, this is definitively the worst map to do it. I mean, I understand why they're getting off the armory. Don't get me wrong. Like, you lost it twice, you don't run it back. But the problem isn't the site. Like I said, there's no presence. You cannot let somebody sprint east side into, I think it's west stairs actually.
It was the east stairs they sprinted in, and then somebody tried to sprint in west. But you have to be
Right.
even more careful, as you're saying. They're just letting them walk through. There's no denial. There's no pressure. Yep. They're just taking site bit by bit and walking through. This is not the site to be playing on. Yes, Wildcard's slightly more warmed up, but that's not going to be the play here. Yes, it was just one site. They lost at the first 2 attacks, then they decided Switch was the right move. But now they have to win the rest of their defense, which is going to have to be a little bit more problematic for them.
Right, it's a symptom of a bigger problem, is the way that I would describe it. But either way, we'll see if maybe that tempo possibly shifts, or this is going to continue to be a struggle for them. Because right now, again, everyone's walking in, about to get into a break area, relatively clean, and the line scans come up. It's now too late if you're going to try to stop that. They've already hopped in. Octua revealing himself off of the ping. Now you see Thrill, Fenrir over by the 90 hallway looking to catch one. Does catch Oryx though. Sprinting that wide out in the open. Octua going down. That's going to be the bully. Nitro goes out. That's going to be the refrag, but Cassiopeia catches another. So we have a 3v3 now. Shrimperton able to clear out off it. That's Cassiopeia now out of the way, but gets immediately refragged. A series of back-to-backs. That's exactly what you want now at a 2v2, but suddenly this map now feels a whole lot bigger, and there's more opportunities for gaps.
Definitely with that, and the intel coming up from those Valkyries is going to be very important. They now know what they have to do, but whether they can do it or not, they don't know who's in sight. They have to drone it out. They have the time, but it's only got 1 utility left, 1 drone in Sledge's back pocket, and then the 4 set up around sight. But the 3 set up around sight. The wasted C4 from Valkyrie because the audio just isn't perfect as we wanted. So 2v2, you've got Warden, who's great for a post plant, but no C4 in pocket. They're hoping to have them drop in the hatch and then just go for the swing. Sledge is upstairs. They've got a minute left. What do you think's going to happen?
I think with how spread out Rival 7 is, they're going to get this drop down and they're going to plant relatively clean because there's no one to stop this hatch drop plant. Like, no one's in the right position. You don't have someone tellers. You don't have you have someone workshop, but still, they can plant that tucked, and there's nothing they can do to stop it, especially with Alios wasting that nitro or above. This is a really hard thing to stop, and we're seeing just that. Hugin now going for the plant. and there's no one to contest it as it goes down cleanly. You still have one holding above. They can pinch Hyujin without eliminating I Love You Secret from above. It's going to be a problem. Spleech is going to be answering that situation by walking up above. There's a swing. Aliosa successfully takes Hyujin. Nice swing. And a shot from below. You don't even need the vertical player. Aliosa takes both down and get an easy defuse. Great retake.
That is not the example I wanted to see. It was smarter, good. The bait came out, the warden got pinged, but you still got to remember, if your teammate dies going for the plant, you still have to be able to peek the hatch and try and kill the person watching. You have to be able to hold the angle for them. You got to be able to give the call out. Yes, your audio isn't perfect, but your teammates need to be speaking to you. That isn't the... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? That's not the example. That's not the perfect play. That was just getting lucky at the final round. Grim and Valkyrie now both being taken off the board. That's two massive intels, and anti-roam being gone really early. I've got to say, this Fenrir isn't being as useful as I hope. The Warden slightly more, but he's just playing the same role, gun in hand, walking around, mind empty. Jaeger comes out, which I'm hoping this is used more for his gadget, but from how we're seeing this, these guys are enjoying their guns.
This might sound really stupid, and I say this mainly to pick your brain. What would you have thought of maybe like a Nook or a Dekebi or a Lion ban instead of Grim? I understand why Rival 7
Lion.
banned
Lion
him
would have
because
been
he's
the
a
perfect pick.
Yeah, Lion absolutely would have been a perfect pick. But the problem, like I said, is they need to denying getting into the building. And those operators, Lion, Dekebi, and Nook, even though she hasn't been played, put the biggest wrenches into accomplishing that. If you're close to a window trying to get aggressive, and then you hear them coming up these stairs, and you're on the balcony, and suddenly you get Lion scanned, boy, you better hope you don't get caught on the drop down to main lobby. Otherwise, you're dead. There is nothing you can do about that. I would see that as a much bigger threat. So I cannot, for the life of me, agree with a Grim ban. When it comes to execute, you already have problems way past when he's viable. I can't get along with it. The Valkyrie ban just makes sense. I mean, Rival 7's been abusing the life out of it.
Definitely with that, and there's the Warden playing below. You wanting someone to play boss, but no. You just get the Secret Service man with glasses. The problem here is, I have a feeling that maybe Rival 7 didn't ban Lion because they wanted to use him. But that Zero's caught them off guard twice now. Which, there's a third time. Gonna be able to use the ping, use a lot of utility, gonna have to get rid of him. They switched the Iana for the Zero and bring out the Habana. This wall will be getting opened upstairs. But they also still have that long line of sight. If somebody just peeks and swings, they might be able to get this person outside armory. Oh no, this...
Oh, it's certainly a possibility. There's not really a cross to stop it.
No, but there's a cross to shut down him, and there's a second one for Secret. And there's another one going down, 3v2 so early in the round. Simpleton had to drop back off of sight. It's a 1v5, getting shut down with a minute and a half left, no time on the board. They're just watching all angles. He cannot run up the stairs. A flawless round goes out to them. Oryx's Lion shuts him down. He had no choice. There's still Lion scans in the pocket regardless.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. I don't know what's going on, but that's not the call. If you're going to run Armory again, I get it, right? You can't just rely on 2 sites to try to win this all, but you have to change something. We've seen this office hold. I mean, like, it's just clockwork for Wildcard Queens. They didn't change anything. They just ran it down faster. That's the problem with running the same tactic over and over again. It can work, but it has to be from a position of power. And that's a challenge of, hey, we're going to keep doing this until you prove that it doesn't work anymore. This is the complete opposite. This is it's not working. It's the definition of insanity. We're going to keep running it back. I just can't. I understand that you can't, like I said, revolve around 2 sites. You got to change something. You have to. Otherwise, that'll keep happening.
I want you to take a breath and answer this question for me. Do you count Border as an attacker favored map? Yes or no?
So I'm pretty sure the margins on Border over the years have gotten a lot tighter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the answer is right now.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Oh, you got me there. I'm not actually 100% sure. I think it is actually slightly defender-sided.
I would normally agree, but not with how these guys are playing and the fact that I seek an Amari with Secret. Ay, chihuahua.
Nope, switched off Bibana.
Oh, okay. I was so happy,
Don't
but I
wor-
was so terrified. Well, we do get
I
to see a
wanted it too.
blitz.
It's okay.
And maybe we might get to see a spawn peak, maybe some early aggression, maybe some fear
hope so.
being put into them to slow down their ascent. The moment they're rising to the top very quickly, they're getting into the site, they're going straight through CC, they're not even checking anymore about break room. They're just like, all right, we know where they are, we're going to do this. Oryx is probably good for a good roaming game, but if he's caught early, he can be shut down very... Oh, hold on. Secret draw, yes. Oh,
Oh
I'm
no,
already shotgun,
they did
let's
reload.
go. Yeah,
Oh
let's see.
no. Oh no. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm excited to see it, but I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, I know how this is gonna go. Oh no. Oh
I know what
no.
you're
They
talking
only
about.
have one nitro too. Oh no. 3 drones down, but for the information they got, I can see how Wildcard Queens runs this down cleanly. You have one person above, and that's Alios.
Oh my.
This is gonna get ugly fast. And we're about to see just that. They're primed up, and here we go. The Ramara Repel comes in. Levy Secret knows exactly what it is. Yep, blast Alios down. Diffuser now going out. There's still a nitro on the board, but it hasn't been thrown. And the opportunity is now shrinking as Diffuser is down. 2 players down on Wildcard Queens. Alios taken out. Now Thrill off the picture as well, thanks to Oryx. And it's just not looking good. Catches one towards double. That's going to be Spleech caught out in the open. Now going to be the SAS, all that's left. Shrimperton and Hawktua to try to fight these Windows players out. Getting a bit of damage out by the window. And that's an LMG to stop it as Oryx takes another. And it's just an absolute collapse. Wildcard Queens with the rundown. And they get it.
You told me before the definition of sanity was doing the same thing. What is the definition of copy monkey see monkey do and then insanity as well? Because they kept peeking the same guy. That's not what you want to do. Lion is such a menace with that drum mic. He's got the bullets.
Oh yeah.
It's not like he's going to run out of them. What? I'm hoping that this is the big brain play where they're going to realize that should not have worked. It only worked because it was a pocket strat.
Locate and defuse.
We're going tellers now. I'm hoping for more. I would have brought a cross or something at this point to try and punish their ability to walk in, but I guess that's not in the cards yet.
Hard to say. It definitely doesn't look like they're going to try that again. Or maybe they will. I mean, Bully's on... Oh, no. Bully's on Glass. Cassiopeia's on Monty.
Sense.
I love you, Secrets on Sets. Are we doing this again? Are we running this back? This time for Tellers.
It might just be a window jump in or walk through passport plan, but at this moment in time, I'm hoping not. Because yes, Glass has been... Oh, Ying's been brought. Never mind. So... wild card. They're bringing out all the pocket shots. They've got the jokes for days. The Jack, King, Queen are here to show us how it's played. So, I'm wondering 2 things. These queens have their tiaras polished and ready and shining. The Ying's upstairs using her pistol to not give away who she is yet. Never mind, I was wrong. She just decided to pre-fire anyway. But
Made it obvious now.
yeah, at this point, they know there's a Ying now on the board and they have to be able to be prepared for that. There's also a Warden. They've brought a Warden every round. Warden has to be the next ban. At this point, unless they're planning to use him, there's no point keeping him on because he's just going to counter a lot of their plans and strats.
100%. Yep, and here we go. There's the force plant. Thrill already going down. Oryx capturing Shrimperton, running it back, and yet it's still working. Diffuser goes down. Glass is out of the picture. Bully gets taken out, but it doesn't matter. The damage is already done. And 3 Candelas on Ying, still available. Nitro goes out, doesn't connect. Stuck on the window frame. Gets caught by Oryx, who's made the way all the way to waiting room. It's now Spleech, very low HP, and Hawktua, the last to try to make the most of yet again another dire force plant. This is why they needed Armory for this this exact scenario. But that's not really an option either. So, the last round, what can they do? Hawk catches one, pushes the Monty shield, does actually successfully take Cassiopeia down. Now Orcs is forced to walk up, gets a nice shot onto Spleech, and Hawk the last one, gets the down, but is there enough time to defuse? There isn't! Barely, just cannot save the round. Really good try, but just couldn't get the time.
As you can see, the lion had his determination, teeth baring, ready to come and crawl and bite the Smoke's legs. But it did not work. He saved it anyway. It takes 7 seconds to defuse for the people who do not know. At the last 10 seconds, he needs to already be crouching down to start the defusal time. Valkyrie and Hibana again are gone. That means there will be no Valk at all during overtime, but Hibana might be gone for 1 round. I'm hoping to see a Warden ban here from the side of rivals, but it might not be the case. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Honestly, to me, I would be indifferent. Yeah, the Azami ban, that makes sense. She can be a real nightmare over by security. But wow, we have got to talk about what just happened. I mean, you know the funny thing is about that?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a single nitro get thrown before the fuser was planted. Did you notice that? Or am I just crazy?
No, there's only one in the pocket. It got thrown, the other person died with it. Didn't keep it. So it got thrown at the Monty, took half of his health, which is great. But if you know nobody's at the window, you've got the Warden who's able to cover the angle, you peek it. You put it directly above him and either try to down him or deal enough damage where one of you can either go and swing or something can be done. But
right,
again,
anything,
it's about the aggressive tactics. Maldi's now here to be pulled out again by both sides, so he is becoming very useful on site setup.
I love my main. That's my main right there.
Your little Aussie 4-foot nothing man was pre-firing P90.
He's my short king, okay? Don't you trash talk him like that. That's crazy work. We love the short king. In any case, I do wonder if Wildcard Queens is going to try to play this aggressive. I mean, Cassiopeia's got the single door wide open. Wow! Already going for an immediate run. Oh, it's just for barbed.
It's for barbed wire. You pre-place it. No. You pre-place it, and then you go for the spawn peak. See, now they're scared. Now the phantom pressure is on in their head. This Ash can't just walk into red because he doesn't know where the dock is. So they know there's a dock in the wood holding break room. Well, they don't know where anybody else is. Oh, they can see the Aussie pest, but they cannot go too much further. He's got to be even more prepared. So this is where it's going to become a bit more scary. They do not have the time. They have the drone, they have to get through it, and they have to clear out the stock. But they don't know that he's actually retreated. Only the Oryx is here. Oh, yeah. Only... that's Sentry. Only the Sentry's here. The names, it's confusing me. He's got 3 operators that look the same. So, he's got a peek. He's going for the angles. He's got 10 kills, which is really impressive for him. So, Oryx, what do you think the plan is here?
Honestly, just hold it down for as much as possible. Phantom pressure is established, and right now, he's not pinched, so he doesn't really have anything compelling him to fall back. So, you might as well just run it down, honestly, and see how long you can hold it for. And so far, we're talking 1 minute and 40 seconds, no lives lost, and still holding that position of security. They can try to push office all they want, but that's going to be a problem when you have someone who could swing off security when you're trying to push up these stairs. That is going to put a big hamper in your effort into office, especially when you have to deal with that walk back from double. That's always a risk as well. So I feel like eventually they got to deal with him, and they're not. Arrival 7's not doing anything about them, and I think this is going to continue to be a problem as they continue to lose more time. But they do catch one. That's going to be Bully out. So that gives them a little bit of momentum. A nice shot onto Cassiopeia as well. Not the long angle peek that I would be taking personally. Nitro goes out, doesn't connect. Now they know there's one very close by, and there's the swing deservingly taken out by Streppington. Oryx goes out as well, and it looks like they get that collapse onto Office. Oryx down. Finally deal with that problem. Nice shot from Eugene, taking Thrill down. But the phone call comes in. They know exactly where he is. Stuck in a corner. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to run. And just like that, out like the flip of a switch on a light.
Death right with that. But let's tone it down like a dimmer switch. It's 2-5. They have to play it out. I'm pretty sure the timeout's gonna be called in a minute. But wild cards don't actually need it yet. This is their big brain time. This is their army hold again. So I'm thinking that they call it maybe in the next round if they lose this, but I doubt it. They have the ability to slow them down properly, bring out that longer ranged guns, the the ACOG on dock, and then you've got the 2 MP7s. Honestly, in my opinion, the most oppressive weapons and overpowered weapons in this version of Siege. So, do they go for the wall? They have the thermite. They know they like to play bandit. Ban is gone. Ace is gone. You have no way of getting that person out of fountain unless you push them. And if it's going to be a bandit again, that's a lot of utility you have to waste just to try and get them. Would you not be better trying to push the armory side?
Potentially, but the problem right now, I don't think it's so much where Arrival 7 was pushing from. It was more like the fact that Wildcard Queens, they knew that everyone was scrounged up by East Stairs, but they didn't do anything about it. No one peeked Archive's door. Nobody tried to contest that space until it was too late. They basically were letting Arrival 7 do whatever they want. You can't do that. This is where I talk heavy about that initial entry denial. You have to put the pressure on them. They didn't do that. Like, Arrival 7, despite having that one player by security, felt pretty dang comfortable. And to be honest, Orcs kind of play that position too passive. But now, holding that a lot more aggressively. I do like that. Trying to get a little bit more pressure on them. That's a step in the right direction. Engaging fights just like that. Oryx taking Alios down. Looking for another, but you got Blitz right on the tail. Unfortunately, that's a refrag. But another goes out as well. That's going to be Spleech, a 1-for-1 trade. Either way, now down 2 players, in fact, on the disadvantage as Cassiopeia takes Hawk Tour as well. This is what I was looking for. Where is that initial entry now going to come in? And it looks like it's here, and boy, is it not going to be pretty for the rest of this matchup.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Wallbang's coming out bit by bit. You cannot walk into a room without getting tagged now. It's a 4v2, Lion and Ash left on the field. It's not the position you want to be in. If any callouts come out, Secret's just going to go for the wallbang. They have to peek the angles and try and get the shots. They need to hopefully get the defenders to be aggressive and get those lucky picks and make up time. Now, opening on the side, yes, that gives you the advantage on the ACOG, but Banish is going to drop off. It's good to get him out of sight, but now you've got more dangers of you don't know where he is. There's not a lot of drone economy being used. Each one has been picked off systematically. So, a minute left. How do you think this is going to shoot?
Well, right now, they don't have any drones in hand. 3 drones remaining. Doubtful that any of it is theirs. It's probably either Spleech or Alios who went out so early into the round. So they're basically going to be going into this blind, which is dangerous when you consider that there's still one potentially below that they have to worry about. So that variable of uncertainty, I think it means that they're going to be kind of frozen. And there it is. You have I Love You Secret on those metal stairs. I wouldn't say the most impactful since it looks like they're going to be going off his side. Unless he tries to go for the shots on the metal. And that's where that swing could come in. The red ping coming out. And it looks like we could see a bit of a walk up onto 90. This could be disastrous, but Thrill absolutely shuts down Bully. They pivot onto Office. That's a big rotate. But the push in from I Love You Secret finally comes out, wiping both of them. That's what I was talking about. That uncertainty.
They pushed him out. They knew he was off the field. Those drones were probably used to call it. They had no way of confirming where he's gone after that point. 2-6 to wild cards. These girls know how to play. They've shown that they are probably the favorites now. But it's not over yet. I'm hoping there's the buck. Let's see how the buck that they wanted to ban so aggressively last time is going to be used effectively this time.
Yeah, we finally get to see Buck in the spotlight. I still think that ban was absolutely foul and unnecessary, but that's just my opinion. So now we finally see him, and we'll see what he's able to do. I mean, there's a lot of soft breach on this map. In fact, when it comes to soft breach to map density, I would say this is probably one of the highest. I mean, you can't go around a single corner on this map without there being soft wall, soft wall, soft wall. At least 1, maybe even up to frickin' 3, 4, 5, like we're seeing in like you have in Workshop. there's so much soft breach of potential to play around, which makes reinforcing that much more pivotal. I mean, there's too much. Like, you don't reinforce, you're completely exposed to everything. So we'll see how much impact we'll be able to get the mileage with Buck. But it does seem like Wildcard Queens is possibly going for a bit of an open concept here. We've got a lot of lines of sights over on first floor.
You say open concept and they bring Scopos. That just kind of terrifies me even more. That gun with no recoil, no fear, and a robot that's just as emotional as Ash used to be. But they shot the camera above the dock. They didn't drone him out, so they don't know that he's actually there. And there's a Scopos on the second floor. He's switching back and forth. Using her body as another camera as well is probably going to be the play. Lion going outside just trying to get in, but Ayana's already in. Don't even have to worry about it. Break room is there, so that's a lot of control gone already. Perfect recoil control, opening up lines of sight. But here's Scopo switching back to his body, opening up break room to now get a line of sight. Gotta be even more careful. Okay, stop. Gotta love it when Secret's calling him out, being terrified of what's going on. This is supposed to be a fun game. But no, there's Buck being taken off the board before he can do is that impact. Scopos doing work already. Now time to try and push into army, clear as much of it as they can. But is it gonna be worth it? There's a minute already gone. 4v5, what do you think's gonna how this is gonna play out now?
Honestly, I feel like I Love You Secret's getting a little overzealous with this position. It might get potentially flushed out. I mean, like I said, still holding this position. They know where you are. That's really gutsy. At this point, if I Love You Secret doesn't fall off really soon, at least before the swing comes in, I don't think she lives to see the day. And there's that fall off with that final smoke. But I think as far as how the rest of this round is going to play out, honestly, with how much drone work is available to them, if they don't start clearing this stuff out, especially when you got a Scoopos on the board, there's the Yana finally, I think they could be asking for a lot of trouble, especially with how the clock is ticking down at this point.
Goodman rings out from Ella. I do love how they buffed her gun. It's so much more manageable now. But here comes the pain of it all. If Ash tries to rush this out, Ella actually can win this. There's the Gooman's above the door. There's a lot of utility. She knows she's there. She knows it's all real people. She just has to go for the wall and cause trouble. Yes, gets the peek and then takes out Grim now off the board. Ash now, Ayana now off the board. Ash alive, has to peek it as well. Ash finally getting the refag on the Bully, becoming a 2v4. 30 seconds left.
Those are some nasty shots of Boley. Gotta give props. That was clean. I was a little worried about that pre-fire, about giving away the position, but either way, it paid off big time. Big gambit, big reward. Little time, little opportunity. Wildcard Queens to sweep it out.
Those girls have done work all day. That's them winning 2 now already. This one versus another team I expected a lot better from. Yeah, I think it was Border was their map pick. They chose this. So, looking at that stats just to end it off. Ooh. Beautiful plays. Painful to watch on certain rounds, I'm not going to lie. They've got a lot to polish up on both sides. But I'm excited for how much more they can do now. They've shown that they can do work. These all champion players, much better than me. I'm stealing every last one of those border pocket strats, just an FYI. What? Anything you want to say?
Might as well. No, honestly, other than the fact that that was a lot cleaner. Clubhouse left a lot to be desired, but this was good. This was honestly just genuinely really good. I mean, they read the defense's behaviors really well when they were, attacking, punished the life out of it. And then on defense, I wish I could see just a little bit more initial entry denial. I really wanted to see that. But, I mean, they pulled it off once, and when they did, holy crap, did that hurt. So, I mean, honestly, shoot. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. At least as far as this matchup is concerned. I mean, they did everything they needed to and won it in strides. I mean, I would say it's fair to declare that as a blowout, 100%. I would think that's a fair claim to make. They absolutely took that out.
So, Playday MVP team has to go to Wildcard. But my player, whoever's on cameras and giving callouts. But I've got to say as well, next Playday, Saturday the 21st of January. Oh, that's the day before my birthday. That's going to be fun. So, everyone be prepared. You can have a lot more Project Lunar coming, a lot more aggressive gameplays. Play Day 2. Is there anything you're hoping to see from these guys? Well, these girls.
I would probably just say maybe more attack executes. That's honestly all I got. I mean, I definitely was kind of sweating bullets anytime an execute was about to go out. But other than that, I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone play once again next week. And that's all I really got, honestly.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for our production lead, Zay. Thank you for our observer today, Rennie. And thank you for being here with me as an emergency caster, and to our main two casters who were here before that but had to leave us because, you know, time was of the essence. So, big thank you to everyone. We'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.